Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Good Monday, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, we've got you covered. All 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the show. Both to iTunes and our own Audio Vault. Rate, review, share. Let others know about the goodness that is the Jeff Cameron Show. You can email me if you like, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at jcameronshow. WTSM app works well for your mobile devices. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Periscopers. Hope you're well. Thanks for watching the program as we conduct it. Florida State falls on the road. What's new? They lose road games. Florida State always loses road games unless Puma Pass is the quarterback at Louisville and he has an asinine head coach call a ridiculous play and gift wrapped a win. That's it. That's all. Year two, more losing on the road. Florida State loses again. It's time to Wake Forest. It's hard to stomach. The frustration grows. The buzz around this program is one that sees an awful lot of folks wondering whether or not Willie Taggart will make it to year three. That's where we sit today. If you're just gauging and putting your finger on the pulse of the fan base, I would tell you that right about now, Coach Taggart and this staff, not exactly well thought of. That's not news to you, but I think it's reached a new level. I think we've reached a place now where there are conversations to be had. There are certainly money men behind the scenes that have way more influence on this than the vast majority of us, but those are the people that now begin to have to seriously talk about the possibility of moving forward with a new head coach at the end of this next season if things don't turn around with the remaining games. It's because you continually see sort of the mismanagement in-game decisions that have been on display now for some time. Again, the end of that game, the second to last drive of that game featured sort of the kind of mismanagement of time, the somewhat confused and hurried decision-making that doesn't reveal a real plan in place. If you are playing for a field goal, know you're going to do it, know what your plan is on third down, that if you don't convert it, that you're kicking a field goal. That way you don't have to waste a timeout, but waste a timeout is what this head coach does an awful lot of. Go back to earlier in the year, Louisiana Monroe calling a timeout right before you punt to give them more time to have the football, which made zero sense. The answer that we were given at that time was that he was worried about a punt block. Well, that's what practice is for. That's why you go through these scenarios before the game. And, you know, we saw it last year as well. Some of the decision-making in-game. Last year's Syracuse game was a curious one indeed. There have been lots of these kinds of moments that I think only serve to create a level of doubt that our team is being put continually, especially in late-game situations, in the position to succeed. It's why you lose these close games. It's these kinds of mistakes that help lead to these losses. And so it's frustrating, and the frustration grows, I think, even for the most adamant of supporters to Coach Taggart and his staff and those willing to see it through and showcase patience and be willing to endure some of the suffering that is going on right now by the Florida State fan base for a program that is very proud but hasn't been good now in 4 years. I think it's getting harder and harder to justify. I think financially they're going to be in a really, really interesting spot because the money may not be there, but you may not be able to afford the losses that continue to amount and the lack of season ticket sales that will incur because of it. I'm curious. We're at a crossroads. I think this loss certainly puts Willie on shaky ground. Now, it could very well be that Florida State, homecoming this week, bounces back, wins that game, turns around, beats rival Miami, who themselves are in the midst of having a horrific season and surely by now are already questioning their choice of Manny Diaz as head coach. But you look at that situation there, Boston College on the road, again, another road game. Florida State doesn't win them. You got Alabama State. I'm willing to put that one in pen, Tom. I'll write that one in pen that we're going to win that one. But you're going to get blown out by Florida, who continues to improve. That program right now is ascending while we are descending. Makes it harder to stomach. And so I think you got at least one more automatic loss. That would put you at 5 losses. And if you don't win the other games, 6-6 at best, 5-7 feels a little bit more likely. With that schedule this year, that's not improvement. That's not going to get it done. That's certainly not going to engender a feeling that the right guy is at the helm. And so today, whether you're for or against it, it doesn't really matter. What's happening is a larger discussion about this program and what's the right move, what's going to happen at the end of this year.
So can we fast forward to Friday when we have the post-show Guinness? Can we do that like right now? Because that's where I feel like I am as a Nole. I just want to get through the games rather than enjoy them. You know me, over all these years we've been doing the show, I'm passionate, sometimes on the air, but mostly behind the scenes, be it just in our conversations, text messages.
We care, yeah.
I'm past it all. I'm past this. And here's why. If I'm wrong and he's going to bounce back, that means there's a lot of winning between now and then, and we'll be happy. But if I'm right, then this thing is spiraling into the side of the mountain, as you like to say.
The plane is flying into the mountain.
And that's what it feels like is going on here because, anecdotally, you hear stuff behind the scenes surrounding a kickoff, not really anything to do with the 60 minutes, and you're like, okay, so we need to overcome this, that, and the other in order to give ourselves a fighting chance to win. One example that the public would know about, Dante Lucas pregame. I mean, what are we doing, man? That's like maybe the 30th example of something like that since the beginning of last season, where it irks the fans and you say, really? So we're going to get out in front of the card here and act like we're big bad Florida State,
right? But
where we can't win but one ACC road game in this tenure? Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? So instead of getting like just viscerally angry at this point, I put down the sword and I know what's going to come is going to come. And I know what's probably going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I'm not going to live and die on every second of every day worrying about Florida State football the way I have because I'm not seeing the reason to right now.
Yeah, well, people process these things differently, of course, and at different times go through the stages of grieving, if you will. And I think that there are plenty of fans who this was the final straw, judging by my inbox, right? This was it. They've seen enough. They can't believe it. There are others who reached that place a long time ago, and this is just following the form of previous setbacks. There are those who still are hanging on for dear life that maybe, just maybe, there'll be a sign that we're going to come out of it. The fact that a lot of these games have been close, unlike last year, gives some maybe some semblance of hope. I think there's a conversation to be had amongst reasonable people that does feature a discussion surrounding the firing of Willie Taggart. I think there's a discussion to be had amongst reasonable people where you hang on for even another year. And because this is nuanced, it's not so cut and dry, and that's part of the problem with this is that, okay, listen, I'll entertain both for the purposes of the discussion. Let's vet it all. That's fine. If you're the guy that says no way, no how, Jeff, you know it and I know it. What are you talking about? We've got to move on. We've seen enough evidence to show that this is not moving in the right direction. I'm sure he's a great guy. That's all well and good, but he's in over his head, and it's time to move on. And we cannot continue to go down this path as we fall further behind Clemson and our rivals 2 hours away in Gainesville. And I got it. Okay, so you say that, right? But it's not as simple as that, because even if I agree, even if I say, you know what, I think you're right. Well, look, man, there are financial implications here. You also have instability behind the scenes. You have an outgoing president, and with an outgoing president, in all likelihood, means an outgoing AD, because the new president is going to hire his own AD. And so when you go through the process of making a change, who's at the helm? Who's making this decision? If it's the current president, if President Thrasher is the one to make the decision, well, in fairness, he was the one that made this decision, right? So there'll be people who say, well, I don't know.
Yeah, track record, yeah.
Secondly, okay, all right. He's done a lot of other things really, really well and probably exceeded expectations for a lot of folks. So, all right, Not everybody gets it right all the time. We'll give you a do-over. But are you going to be here to see this through?
Yeah.
And also, by the way, do we even have the money? Because it's not the firing, it's the hiring of the next group as well. You have to convince major money boosters to come in and sign a check for somebody to leave. That's hard to do.
I think most of the work in that regard is being done on Saturdays, though. I think they're more apt to do it now than they were before kickoff.
I agree that there are more people who are lining up in that camp to move forward, but I would tell you it's much easier to convince people to write a check for somebody to come to your program because there's excitement about that. It's like, obviously you and I buy a plane ticket to go on vacation somewhere. We're really pumped about doing that, but we're not so pumped about signing a check or paying a bill. That's something that we don't reap rewards from. It's just kind of like, okay, well, geez.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks
right.
for that. Here you go. I mean, I'll never get to.
Well,
it's terrible. So you have that, and also, can I just submit, you couldn't really be in a worse situation than to have to be searching for the guy that because you better be certain. You better be as sure as one can be in these situations that you got a guy that's going to remedy the situation, right? Who's out there? Who's the guy? When Alabama had to go searching for a coach because they were fed up and tired of not mattering and really going through the motions at a place like Alabama, they went, we could get Nick freaking Saban. That son of a bitch is going to come in here and win, and we're going to pay a ton to do it, and that's fine. Well, yes, and they did, and he has, and there you go. But I'm quite sure Michigan thought Harbaugh was going to come in and win. It hasn't happened. Look around the country. Lots of can't-miss guys have failed miserably. So you're going to have to find the right guy at the right time and pay him and pay his staff, pay off the other staff. You got a lot of machinations in all of this, and it's tough because there's no surefire candidate is what I'm saying.
Even if it is a surefire candidate, it's not a surefire solution because you got unique issues here that you don't have at every job is different. Mm-hmm. But you can't let that paralyze you into not making a move if you know for a fact you don't have the guy. When I say earlier that I'm putting down the sword, it's in this way. I'm done doing the defending thing. Like, when we're out and about and people are talking about the problems with the program and it sounds like it's 100% Willie's fault. I'll try and make the argument. And I do in earnest make the argument about the mess that was left before.
Oh, there's no doubt he inherited a nightmare, but you got to get better.
I'm done doing that now.
Yeah, things got to improve.
Doing that now. You got to get a result. Yeah. You need the results at some point here because I know what this is going to do to recruiting. It doesn't matter that Willie inherited a mess. These kids are going to say no to us because we're losing, and we're losing a lot. Yeah. And so you're not going to get better in the short term. You're not going to get better in the long term because you're not getting the bodies to fix the problem. You're not getting the results.
Yeah, but again, man, what a time. We are in limbo in a way that I know since I've been covering this team, certainly 20-plus years, that we've never been in. Even at the end of the Bowden era where you were trying to gracefully maneuver a situation that was really ugly in terms of moving on from a legend. The end of the end of the Jimbo time here was really odd. Things had gotten so ugly behind the scenes and things had gotten so contentious and rife with, on a daily basis, you would hear about the kinds of screaming matches that were going on behind closed doors. And yet there we sat and thought, okay, well, clearly the decision's going to be made. It's going to be easy. Jimbo's been flirting with another university each of the last 3 years. Here's what we'll do. We've got some candidates out there that look pretty good. And it's crazy when you think back on it. There's a lot of revisionist history going on right about now. It does look like, at least on the surface, and I'll start by owning this, that I'm going to be wrong. I thought Willie Taggart was the right hire. I was in favor of that move. Looks like I'm going to be wrong if this plays out the way it's currently playing out. But a lot of people act as if that was the only candidate that we hadn't talked to other people, and that nobody thought that was a good move, but a few select. Oh, no. There's a guy, by the way, in Coach Taggart that was being considered by Ole Miss big time. They were going to pay him. They were threatening to outpay us. We talked to other coaches as well in this process.
One's down in Tampa right now, not doing so much.
But you also had James Franklin at Penn State, who's done a good job up there, who was also in the mix here. Patterson was also in the mix here, TCU. So you had a lot of guys. It wasn't just him. He was a guy that the University of Florida was rumored to be interested in as well. So all of the machinations that went on, all of the kind of, who's going where and who's going to – at that time, the advantage he had was that all the places he had been were sad to see him leave. Yeah, USF was devastated when he left. Obviously, Western Kentucky was, but what could they do about it? And then Oregon, my buddy, the Oregon grad who's got his PhD from here, is texted me that night, "You bastards are going to steal my Oregon coach? What the hell?" They didn't want to see him go. We're learning on the fly here about Willie Taggart's shortcomings. People cite record, but lots of people have bad records when they take on rebuilding projects. I don't care about that. I cared more about the recruiting acumen that I thought gave us a distinct advantage.
Well, and how did he leave those programs that he took over in a better
left
place?
Them in a much better place. And so the idea was, okay, all right, well, get a guy that's young, that is great in recruiting, that knows the state. All right. And none of that matters if you can't win some football games, though, and you're not able to flip culture. And they haven't been able to really flip culture. You still see the undisciplined play. You still see the kinds of mistakes that really, really are the bane of our existence and frustration.
You see the hollow bravado.
Right. You see the kind of stuff that it does. It feels empty when you see that. And then when you couple it with losses like we're seeing now, you're not able to gain traction in the areas where you could succeed. Never mind the fact, you talk about the stuff you hear anecdotally off the field about disorganization, problems within the organization, off the field, that suggest they don't have all their ducks in a row. Well, even if you just hear those rumors and they're persistent, and they have
persistent from how many different places, too.
Right. So those have been the persistent rumors from day one. And you look for signs of it because it would manifest itself in other ways. And it does on game day. You see that. You see these examples of what we're talking about. And so that all adds up to mounting problems and negative momentum that is going to be awfully tough to overcome. And whether you're in agreement with it, or you think it's too soon, or you fall somewhere in between, it doesn't really matter right now, because what's true is that Florida State isn't winning in recruiting. They're okay, but you're going to continue, if you lose, to hear about people decommitting, considering other options. You don't have an influx of elite offensive linemen on their way to Tallahassee. And what's going to happen when you lose Marvin Wilson next year, or after this year, and when you lose Cam Akers, who's your best player? What are you going to do then? You don't have a depth of talent to help overcome some of the problems that we're seeing now in game. The elite player on this roster is dwindling.
Yeah. And the way out of this mess was winning and
creating
winning big
buzz
against an easy schedule. Winning 8 or 9 games, and then kind of faking it till you make it kind of a deal. And if you can't get the wins, then none of this – because, look at it this way from the coaching staff. Look at the tree of it, right? You got the head coach. I mean, I don't envision Kendall and Clemens to be here 2 or 3 years from now. We'll see if they're here next year.
I'm doubting it.
Right, that's okay.
Beginning to.
So you got to start from scratch over there on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Harlan ain't going to be your DC next year. Maybe it's Levitt.
No, thank goodness.
Maybe it's Levitt if he doesn't get a better offer, but okay. And then position coach-wise, I mean, we feel okay about Dugans. On the defensive side, we need a new linebackers coach. I guess that'll be Levitt. Need a new defensive backs coach. How many people are going to come here and say, yeah, I want to be a part of that staff that may not be assembled 12 months from the time I take the gig? It's just the long-term out. The only way out of it was to win against this schedule, which was set before you in a really nice – I mean, the ACC did us a favor, and we couldn't take advantage of it.
No, it's a convoluted mess right now because the answer, while seemingly simple on the surface, involves an awful lot of maneuvering behind the scenes that I'm not sure we're capable of doing as currently constructed, because you don't have stability in the athletic department and at Westcott. So you don't have – what you need in place where somebody is the obvious candidate to sit down and organize this effort. Now, there are plenty of people probably, as you said, maybe willing to pony up and start to talk about what needs to change here and how we could go about doing it. I mean, you can find money. They can find
It's
money.
a really simple equation. What's more expensive? Which side of the scale is more expensive?
Yeah.
Keeping the status quo that we have for now, or making a go of it?
Yeah,
it
but
might be
what's
the
not-
wrong move, but perhaps making a go of it is the only move.
You can't this gets really, really interesting because I get it. You can't remain where we are currently, which feels to be in complete limbo, that you don't – it's not a good look to fire a coach 2 years in, especially one that's represented by a super agent that represents all the viable candidates that you would want to talk to begin with. It's potentially damaging beyond what already exists in terms of recruiting that's going to be used against you. It's already being used against you. You're going to have a lot of factors that you have to overcome, including the finances that we just laid out, but also the instability behind the scenes where if you have an outgoing president and an outgoing athletic director, all these things add up to making this a very difficult situation, but also because what you just said is true. I don't know how desirable this job is right now, and I don't know that there are elite candidates lining up around the block to say yes. It's not as simple as saying, well, we can't afford to do this, we got to move on. If you move on for moving on's sake and you don't find the right guy and you continue to lose, you fall further behind. That you become a program like Miami, which is just constantly hiring and firing people, and paying off this coach and that coach, and falling further and further and further behind.
Yeah, I think the irony of it is the next candidate would need a guarantee that he has more time than you just gave the previous guy. Because guys, this is not a retool. I could tell you, it's that's what the message is going to have to be. You got to stick with me for a few years, like a few, not 12. 15, 18 games. I need more time than that. And you better guarantee it to me or else I'm not taking the gig.
I want to know who a realistic candidate is. We're going to start getting into all these kinds of comments. You know what stinks about all this, too, is, listen, I have no doubt, and I've said from day one, and my interactions with him have been great. Not that that matters, but I'm just speaking from a personal standpoint. I have no doubt Willie Taggart loves Florida State, cares deeply about the kids that he coaches, views this as his dream job. I know that doesn't matter when you're not getting the job done. I'm just pointing out that the guy is coming at it from a place where you could utilize those factors in your favor if you could just gain a little bit of traction and just win a few of these games that you're narrowly missing out on, because those things would play in your favor. That is felt in a living room. That's felt when you're sitting across from the guy. That's felt. When I talk to him, we get along swimmingly. I mean, I'm sure he's not happy about what I'm saying right now, but that's not my job. I can't worry about that. But when I talk to him, he's gracious in these interviews. We have these conversations. I think he cares deeply about Florida State. I hate to see that, I hate to see that go unrewarded. But I also know that the reality of the circumstance is this. They're not winning games. Yeah. They're not winning enough games, period. This is always about results. This is about winning football games. Any coaching job in America is, and oh, by the way, it's not lost on me, he's not a volunteer. He's making $5 million a year to make better decisions and to make this program something it's currently not.
I like to see good things happen to good people too, but, I also have to watch these games.
I know.
So,
yeah,
that's the problem.
How many people you think are here this weekend?
Homecoming?
I mean, you get bailed out a little bit.
Stay homecoming.
Judging by my inbox, there's a lot of people saying, yeah, going to pass on this year's homecoming festivities. Jeff, I'll see you next year. See you next time. I'm not so sure. You might see me 2 and 3 years from now. I mean, we'll be there, but we live
Of course
here,
we will.
And we cover it, but
we cover
a whole lot of people
That's
flying
right.
in from Miami, Orlando, Tampa, driving in over, maybe somebody from Jacksonville a couple hours away.
There are times when the paycheck for covering this team is a bonus. You're like, wow, unbelievable. Then there are times when it's a paycheck,
I still always love this job in the big scheme of things, but
you feel it like I do today.
Well, I feel the frustrations, and I'm mindful. I think as I get older, that again you're dealing with people. You're dealing with people that in many cases you like. But the reality of the situation is that you got to win games. It's pretty straightforward. I did talk to Coach Taggart this morning. That went swimmingly. You'll hear his answers next when we come back. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Stop by today.
Hardee's new Monster Roast Beef Sandwich is stacked with slow-cooked roast beef, slices of crispy applewood smoked bacon, all covered in layers of melted cheese. This tasty triple threat is kind of like an epic no-hands backflip on a wild Mustang while spearing a great white shark. How you got a wild horse out in the middle of the ocean isn't important. What's important is that the new Monster Roast Beef Combo with fries and a Dr. Pepper is only available at Hardee's.
Available for limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's. Dr. Pepper is a registered trademark of Dr. Pepper 7-Up, Inc.
Not every law firm is the same. For example, you don't hire a divorce attorney to handle a foreclosure. The same goes for your insurance claim. Hire a firm that has the knowledge and experience in handling insurance matters. The Morgan Law Group is dedicated solely to this cause, fighting insurance claims that are underpaid, delayed, or denied. With offices throughout Florida, the Morgan Law Group covers claims for all hurricanes, storms, mold, fires, boats, and even sinkholes. Representing the policyholder, going after the insurance companies. The Morgan Law Group. Offices Miami, Orlando, Naples, and Panama City. Online at policyadvocate.com.
Not an employee or member of law firm.
Text Fan Cave to 66555 and enter to win an ultimate Fan Cave experience from Bud Light, an over $1,500 prize giveaway. Text Fan Cave to 66555 or visit tryeaglesales.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Tri-Eagle Sales.
Hi folks, Dirk Bentley here. Being on the go is a big part of my life. I love seeing new places, meeting new people, and performing all over the world. For energy on the go, for me, it's 5-Hour Energy. It works fast, works long, and it tastes good. With 0 sugar and 4 calories. Try it. It could work for your on-the-go life too. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Golic and Wingo.
Yes, they clearly upgraded their secondary by picking up Jalen Ramsey, but are they doing it at the expense of first-round picks that they seem to give away like candy? They took Jared Goff with the first pick in 2016. They will not have a next first-round pick until 2022. They have traded away 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. That is remarkable.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Escúchame, y Zidane Levatación, ESPN Radio.
Alex Rodriguez has gone to his Twitter account. He is in a fine suit. He is carrying a fine bag. He has, I'm sure, a perfectly manicured left hand in the pocket of his pants. He looks regal as hell standing in the street of New York City with very expensive sunglasses, and this is what he writes on Twitter. It's not enough just to want it. Go and get it. Don't wait on an opportunity, create one. Don't hope today is your lucky day. Make it your lucky day. Step up to the plate, lean in, and go for it. Hashtag make it happen.
I just got goosebumps. I love that guy.
That is not helpful. Where are the steroids in that?
Don't wait for them to come to you. Go get them.
That's right. Don't wait for the steroids to show up at your door. Go get them.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, I talked to Coach Taggart this morning early. This is how that went. And 3, 2, 1. Coach, thanks for your time. As always, I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on, Jeff.
Absolutely. Now, let's go through it. There's a lot to unpack here. So, as always, I want to start with your observations and analysis after watching the film. We don't get to watch the film, and I know the All-22s tell a different story a lot of times. Now that you've had the opportunity to look at it, what factors would you say, I guess, most contributed to the outcome?
Well, I think we just got to make the winning plays when those opportunities come. You know, we had opportunities to make some winning plays in that game, and we didn't. You know, you think about the 2 turnovers that was down in the scoring zone. We didn't take advantage of, and that's critical for our football team. And, I mean, I think to put it all in a nutshell, they made 5 field goals, 6 field goals. We missed. 5 field goals. I'm sorry, and we missed a field goal, and we turned the ball over twice, and they didn't. And you just can't do that on the road against a good football team.
What's the process of getting your kids to battle through these kinds of things and find ways to make winning plays?
Well, you just got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting and keep putting them in a situation, and hopefully eventually they come through and make the play that they know they're capable of making, especially when there's pressure situation. Our guys know they can make the plays. They just got to make them, and I think more importantly for our football team, just learn to finish these ball games. We're in these ball games in the fourth quarter, and we got to learn to finish them.
Take us through, I know you've talked about it, but I want to get clarification. Take us through the second-to-last possession. You chose to kick a field goal there. You had to use a timeout after not converting on third down. Were you contemplating going for it there? What led to the timeout?
Well, we was rushing on a field goal to get lined up, and didn't want that for Ricky. If you look at it, when we snapped the ball, it was a bad snap, so luckily we did call a timeout. But didn't want to rush. Wanted him to just go and get ready. But if you look at it, time was running down, and it's more of a rushing thing than anything.
Did you contemplate going for it at all, though?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Wanted Ricky to go and win the game. We had a play call before that to try to get us in a better situation. Had a missed block, and maybe we could have got a lot more than what we probably got a first down or more if we would have executed on that play, but we didn't. And felt Ricky can go and make the field goal. He had enough on it. We didn't make it.
This past week, Coach, I'm wondering, what was the timeline? I understand there's a strategic value to not revealing who's going to start at certain positions for you, but I'm curious, what was the determining factor? What was the timeline for you deciding to go with James Blackman as your quarterback? And are you getting the consistency that you're looking for from your quarterbacks, plural, for this offense to have more success?
Well, you go back and look at the game last week. I wouldn't say James' play was the reason for us losing. I thought James played well. He completed a high percentage of his passes. He threw 2 touchdowns. The one interception he got hit on where we missed the block. But I thought for the most part he did well enough for us to win the ball game. Are there some throws out there we wish we could have connected on? Absolutely. There's also some drops we wish we would have connected on as well. So I thought he played well enough to win the ball game, and we just didn't. Again, we didn't win as a team.
So obviously he's your guy going forward again this week?
Well, I haven't said anything different. I think everybody else talked about that, So that's just
it's a non-issue to you, right?
Say it again?
It's a non-issue for you. You're moving forward with James.
I'm moving forward with James. I'm moving forward with our football team, and excited about our opportunity against Syracuse this week.
On that note, Coach, when you have a situation where you lose back-to-back games, fans get nervous, and they want to know that things are improving from this time last year to where we are now. What would you point to as definitive proof that despite those 2 losses, despite the record, things are moving in the right direction in your mind?
Well, you think back to last year, we weren't in any of these games that we lost. These games, you look at our football team, it's probably 3 plays from being 6-1. We just got to finish ball games. We're in these games where we're up in the fourth quarter. Our team we got to learn to finish these ball games. That's on us to do it. So we just got to keep working and find a way to get a win. Especially when we're in these games. You think about some of the two of them on the road. We're still in these games, and we got to find a way to win them.
Really curious. I know the way they call a game anymore is really frustrating for football fans. I scream at my television and have a hard time watching games every weekend, whether it's Sunday or Saturday, with the way things are officiated. We had another player kicked out of a game, and I don't know, is there anything we can do or that you coaches can coach that would change the way that our guys tackle? It seems like we lose a guy so frequently, and I'm not saying that anybody wants to get kicked out of a game, and I understand that it can be awfully ticky-tacky, but I am curious, is there anything we're not doing?
Well, we're always coaching the right way and coaching for the safety of our players, and I don't think any player intentionally goes out to try to do the things that they know going to get them out of the game.
Right.
I just think this game is tough. It's tough on everyone. And we just got to keep harping on it and trying to get our guys to not lower their heads and more try to to work on their target, which is keeping their face mask up in them and the head up and try to run through them without the crown of your helmet or without hitting a defenseless player. So that's something you just got to keep trying to teach and coach every single day, and hopefully our guys go out and just do it.
Finally, from an injury front, Coach, obviously we suffered another one. It's getting frustrating, but that's football. Any more updates as far as the relative health of the team?
Yeah, we're beat up. Yeah, we're beat up as a football team. Like I said after the game, Ontario Wilson will be out. Bavion is more day to day, and same with Brady Scott, and same with Cyrus Fagan as well. So hopefully we can get these guys back soon.
Coach, always appreciate the time. Be well, and I'll talk to you again next time.
Hey, thank you very much, and go Noles.
All right, take care. So that's Coach Taggart and I talking this morning. I do appreciate the time. He's, it's like I said before, it's not fun to have the larger discussion that we're having now about the fact that things aren't getting done. They're not winning games. They've won one road game. They are 3-4 with this schedule. I don't know. I would guess that for things to have any upward mobility in recruiting, you're going to have to beat Syracuse, Miami, BC, and Alabama State, all of them. Win 4 games, something like that in a row, because you're going to take a setback when you lose to Florida at the end of the year. And I don't think any of us questions whether or not we're going to lose to Florida. I don't care how optimistic you are. You don't really look at those two teams objectively and say Florida State's got a chance to go down to Gainesville and win that game. So you pretty much have left yourself no margin for error. Again, if you're creating any kind of a positive vibe or feel in recruiting, you got to win all of these games, 3 of which are home. So I guess that's a distinct possibility. But I don't really think you can suffer a setback there. And God forbid you lose to Miami again.
It's interesting. It's almost like ESPN is trying to do us a favor here. FSU Miami got 6-day optioned. 3:30 and 7:30 are the 2 windows. Like 7:30 ABC, not 7:30 ACC Network. Found that interesting.
You know how that conversation would go? I mean, those announcers, you have a perfect storyboard for this, right?
Yeah.
What happened to these two? Jesus, look at these guys.
Good evening, folks. Live from Tallahassee, it's Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. What a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
No
Doak
chance
Campbell.
That's the game, man. No chance. I mean, seriously, it's like...
it feels great to be back here at Doak Campbell. What's going on these days here? I don't know.
He would be incensed, right?
We're really happy to call the game. We're going to have, folks, the game's going to happen, but we're going to have a 3-hour talking point. What happened up here? I just don't know. I don't know.
It's like when you were a kid, you saw the movie Weird Science, and you fell in love with Kelly LeBrock, and then the next time you saw Kelly LeBrock, she was 452 pounds. You went, what the hell happened to Kelly LeBrock? Jesus! It's like somebody was watching the Knowles and the Canes, and what the hell happened to these two? It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Members and the coaches, you realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the social agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 Aurora wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday Collegetown deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
You can't protect against everything life has in store, but you can sure try. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we help you protect your investment with regular maintenance options that can keep your system safe. Receive same-day service when you sign up for the Total Comfort Service Program at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. My friends that sell Camrys and Accords may wish that a black cat had walked in front of them this Halloween season, because in comparing Altima with Camry, Auto Trader says buyers looking for value will likely prefer the Altima. That's right, the respectable auto site says Altima is a better value than Camry. Come see for yourself, and this Nissan town is growing. Put a Nissan in your driveway too. Come in this week and you can get 0% financing on most models like Sentra, Rogue Sport, and Titan trucks. That's free money, literally. Or get over $4,000 off Maxima and up to $5,000 off road. And get this, up to $10,000 off select Titan trucks. You will not find these deals anywhere else. As a sales volume leader, Kraft is treated to incentives that other dealers may not get. So come treat yourself to savings, not tricks. And in October, as always, buy a car without the Kraft tag on it, and you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
A Kraft Brothers dealership.
GT Electric is Tallahassee's premier state-certified electrical contractor. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years, GT Electric offers a variety of electrical services for residential, commercial, and industrial fields, including upgrades, repairs, replacements, and installation. GT Electric also sells and services power generators for commercial buildings, homes, and construction job sites. Call them today at 421-9002. That's 421-9002. Or stop by gtelectricfl.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
You see them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas, you know they're confident and ready. Cintas helps with their fire protection and first aid and safety programs, handles their apparel solutions, and helps keep their facility and restrooms clean and stocked. So you know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You know these celebrities who bother you by explaining what a burden their fame is, that they want to go out and be anonymous, they don't want to be bothered at the grocery store, they don't want to be troubled by their fame. Stugotz has a trick I don't believe that celebrities have learned how to use. The way that Stugotz has figured out how to get people away from him is to not stop talking to them, to just hit them with 6 minutes of takes. And some guy next to him at the University of Florida Tennessee game made the mistake of saying hello to Stugotz and that he was a fan, and Stugotz buried him with 6 minutes of complaints on how bad the seats were.
He just wanted to watch the game. His name was Ken.
Listen, Ken, let me explain something to you. Those 6 minutes are my entire damn life. They're the last 15 years of all of my frustrations.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
a weird response from Mark Richt about having a heart attack. I'm assuming the word travels fast, so I wanted to be able to inform everyone that I did have a heart attack this morning. I'm doing fine. What? He literally tweeted that. As I went through the experience, I had peace knowing I was going to heaven, but I was going to miss my wife. I plan to be at work this week. Thanks, Mark. I just was wondering if you're going to be at work this week.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to be here because I think Tuesday we have the meeting, so...
We still checking on him after that tweet? Because I think we should be.
That's
a very stream of consciousness
right
there. Yeah.
Mark, don't you understand you're being rumored to be the next head coach at Florida State? You don't have time to be having heart attacks.
It sounded like Christopher Walken would speak, right?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Died of dysentery. Give me the watch.
Yeah.
You know.
He'd be damned. But so the thing of it is, I love the all or nothing extremes here. If you're of the mindset that this is not going in the right direction, and you are worried that it's not going to work out, which is what I certainly intimated to start the show, then it means you refuse to see or speak about the progress that has been made, even though I've pointed that out time and again. Here we go. Everybody hear what they want to hear, time. No, I don't think Coach Taggart's doing a very good job in a lot of areas. I think he's done a good job in some others. I've mentioned the fact that guys go to class, that's important. And the games are closer this year because we're better than we were a year ago. Schedule's a lot easier than it was a year ago. We're still a long ways from where we need to be. More importantly, we're 3-4 with said schedule. And when you talk about, a play here or a play there, they're not making those plays. It's inexcusable to have a missed extra point against Louisiana Monroe, guys. You can say whatever you want about that, a play here, a play there. And it's also inexcusable to kind of not have a handle on what you're doing in end-of-game situations. See Virginia, see this one.
ULM again.
Yeah.
With the timeout.
Mm-hmm. So this is, it's not to say there hasn't been progress. There is. It's not happening fast enough.
I feel like I'll work backwards. On Sundays, I'm in a car. I'm in the passenger seat. There's no seatbelt. There's not one available to me. It's a geo-tracker.
Okay, geo-tracker.
The old geo-tracker.
The old geo-tracker, got it.
And Jameis has the wheel, and we got some hairpin turns. And we're
we
about
go.
to take these hairpin turns
Here we go.
at 70 miles an hour in a geo-tracker. So I just take the blinder, the Buccaneers orange blinder, I put it over my eyes, and I say, Jameis, take the wheel. Let's go. Wherever we go together. And on Saturdays, I feel like Willie Taggart is driving that same geo-tracker. And here comes some hairpin turns. Maybe he makes the turns. He might. But I put the garnet blinder on, and I say, here we go.
Rooting for it, man. I can tell you that. I am seriously rooting for it.
Take us where we're going to go, because we're going together.
Let's get there, baby.
Let's take those hairpin turns.
No, I am. I'm rooting. I've said this all along. I think it's in Florida State's obvious best interest that this work out. It just doesn't appear that it's going to right now. And I think enough in the negative column has accrued to where it's getting harder and harder. I think we go back to some things dating back to last year into this year where we're talking about in-game situations where there are legitimate mistakes made that tell you, at least in terms of in-game management, putting the team in the best position to succeed on a consistent basis has not been a strength. That's a fair criticism. It's not to say that there hasn't been progress. But how much better do you think that team's going to be next year when you lose Marvin Wilson and Cam Akers and Tamorian Terry?
And who are your coordinators going to be? I mean, everybody thinks it's a shoo-in that Levitt's going to be the coordinator here, but are you sure? I mean, if he's offered another coordinator gig somewhere else, is he going to look hard and long at the two opportunities and weigh one against the other? I would think so. So, and on offense, are you sure that Kendall and Clements are going to be here?
Well, I don't know if it's certainly they took a step back this weekend. Obviously, they weren't able to, light up the scoreboard in the similar fashion that they have in the past. They're struggling a little bit here. There are the rumors that play calling is being meddled with.
Which Willie said it's been the same from game one to now. I don't know what that means necessarily for second half play calling or getting. He says he's involved with the process. He's involved, but no more now than he was in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and he's the head coach. He has every right to be involved there. I don't begrudge him that. I know why people would be angry about that because they would say, well, wait a minute now. The offense was an unmitigated disaster a year ago. You admitted it. You said you were going to hand over the reins of the offense to Kendall Briles, whom we're paying over $1 million a year, so want to make sure that he is, in fact, the one running the offense and calling the plays. That's where some people come from with that. I get the head coach having the right, certainly, to be in the headset talking to the offensive coordinator under any circumstance.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you there, but just in terms of what is the norm? Because you're saying no more now than then, but what was the rule in Boise? Did you take a series? Did you make some suggestions, and the suggestion said you will call this play? We have to get the ball to said player. One thing worth noting, too, in the interview, it's a little bit different than Willie's presser in terms of the quarterback situation. Sounds like from the interview that you conducted this morning, it's full steam ahead with James Blackman, whereas the 12 o'clock availability today, he said, we'll see on Saturday. A little bit of a difference there in those two answers.
Yeah, well, listen, I think when you look at that film, it wasn't a great day at the office for James. Now, he made some plays, obviously, but he left many more on the field. He was also betrayed by Tamorrion Terry a few times. I think they had 5 or 6 drops total, not him solely, but on the day. I mean, the other guys around James aren't helping in that matter, and I love Cam Akers. It's hard to make a case of anything but adulation for what he does, but that was a critical fumble. There's no getting around that. Ball security is important, especially in situations where you don't have a ton of margin for error. These are crucial situations. That's not something Willie could have helped. So there are some things outside his control there that are really unfortunate. You know what happens when things go south, when things begin to go south and they continue to pile up, and you don't make, as he puts it, those winning plays, really ever. When you don't make them and you continue to lose games, it seems a little bit like what could go wrong will go wrong, almost Murphy's Law, right? Every time. And I know that sometimes it takes a while to get to a place where you have the confidence to execute in crucial situations. And I can bear with that. I can handle that. I can live with the coach saying that. But when that's said time and again, and those plays are never being made in these situations, one begins to lose hope that they will, or that they're being in position or being put in a position to where they will. And so I get the second guessing at this point. There's just no doubt. It's hard to, you couple it with all the stuff we hear about this organization.
Yeah, the hard part is with James specifically. The end of the Virginia game was the first time we saw him kind of wince and blink in the moment. The game might have been a little fast. He missed the throw to McKitty over the middle, and then the Tamorrion Terry play. From there, that's kind of been the norm. Is for stretches, the game just appears to be a little fast, and that happened again on Saturday. He didn't throw 5 picks or anything like that, there were a lot of plays that could have been made.
Love his fire and his passion and his leadership skills. I hate that there are stretches in time where he just does not play well and misses guys. I mean, it's I don't know that the replacement is much better. So, in that sense. Ira Schoffel, warchant.com. Joins us next. Stay tuned.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The action are at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and 7th Hill Tap Room. If you're a fan of an action-packed environment, the Corner Pocket is the place to be. Happy hour specials every day, including all day on Sundays, with sports in HD everywhere you look. For location hours and menu, head to cptallybar.com. Whether you're feeling the upstairs at the Corner Pocket or lounging down at the 7th Hill Tap Room, your game day is always covered. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, right next to Earth Fair.
Seminole Headlines, presented by Capital City Bank.
You're damn right.
Catch Jeff Corey and Ira each Tuesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Game Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. Jeff Cameron here, and mark it down. Wednesdays on my show, we're giving away Which Wicked Sandwiches. That's right. Tune in to the Jeff Cameron Show every Wednesday for your chance at a free Wicked 5 meats and 3 cheeses of deliciousness. Which is Wicked Wednesdays every week on the JCS.
Times can be tough, but getting a late model car is easy at Champion Auto Sales. Champion Auto Sales can quickly approve you, no matter how bad your credit. Bankruptcy, repossessions, bad credit, no credit, Champion Auto Sales can have you riding today. Give them a call at 850-999-8395 or visit them on the web at championautofl.com. Their brand is quality and credit approval is guaranteed. Champion Auto Sales, 2754 West Tennessee Street across from TCC. Stop by today.
Hi folks, Dirk Bentley here. Being on the go is a big part of my life. I love seeing new places, meeting new people, and performing all over the world. For energy on the go, for me, it's 5-Hour Energy. It works fast, works long, and it tastes good. With 0 sugar and 4 calories. Try it. It could work for your on-the-go life too. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
Summer is the right time to break the routine. Introducing McDonald's new 2 for $3 Mix and Match deal. For a limited time, choose from the new Hot and Spicy McChicken, crispy chicken seasoned with a bold mix of spices, a juicy McDouble, mouthwatering bacon cheeseburger, or a tender 6-piece chicken McNuggets. Choose any 2 for just $3. The 2 for $3 Mix and Match deal from McDonald's. The most delicious way to mix up your summer. At participating McDonald's. Single item at regular price. Offer not valid for McDelivery. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Prices and participation may vary.
Fire the cannons.
Fire them cannons!
97.9 ESPN Radio is Tallahassee's flagship station for Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
Winston hands the ball off, and Barber up the middle of the 10. 3, 2, 1. He's got a Tampa Bay touchdown.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers football on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Metro Deli in downtown Tallahassee. Metro Deli, Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Buddy Hield, the centerpiece of the Kings and part of a Sacramento backcourt considered one of the NBA's elite, agreed to a 4-year, $94 million extension with the team, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. It includes $86 million in guaranteed money, as well as bonuses and incentives that could elevate the contract to $106 million over the term of the deal. The unbeaten Patriots take on the Jets on Monday Night Football to close out Week 7 of the NFL season. 7 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Could be another tough night for New York's offense, which is averaging a league-worst 3.9 yards per play. New England's vaunted defense is allowing just over 4 yards per play. That is tops in the NFL. Saints quarterback Drew Brees, in a text to ESPN's Chris Mortensen today, said he plans to return to practice on Wednesday. New Orleans has gone 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater filling in for Brees, so that team certainly doesn't need to rush Brees back, notes Mort.
It gives them a chance to play it safe with Drew and let him go through everything he needs to go through. And Teddy has played exactly the way you would expect Teddy to play. He's a true pro. He played probably his best game yesterday against the Bears. At the same time, their defense is playing at such an elite level that you don't have to force Brees in there.
Our Chris Mortensen. Coach Sean Payton said the goal was to get Brees back against the Cardinals next week, and if he's healthy, he plays. Michigan State, for the first time in program history, #1 in the Associated Press Top 25 Men's College Basketball preseason poll. Kentucky #2 and #3 is Kansas. Former Miami and Georgia football coach Mark Richt said he had a heart attack early today, but anticipates a quick recovery. Richt, currently an analyst for the ACC network and ESPN, tweeted he's doing fine and plans on returning to work later this week.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, good to be with you. Good Monday. Thanks for tuning to us. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. If you missed portions of the show or interviews like the one I did with Willie Taggart this morning, the one I'm about to do with Ira Schoffel right now, just remember we're going to post the show upon its conclusion on iTunes as well as in our own audio vault on the web page. Fire away with those emails. There's a busy inbox indeed. JCS at 979 ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. You know what happens at a time like this, Tom? Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Forgot about you for a second. You know, this is the downside of Twitter, where you get grouped into people's arguments.
And there are a lot of those.
They just go on for days. You realize, like, why do I have 75? Oh, somebody just keeps including me in this ongoing, like, debate between these two dudes.
So the thing you do is you just ignore the mentions for a little while. I think that's the game to play.
Oh, yeah. Well, I ignore Twitter and
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying that for everybody.
But I kind of looked over. I was like, what in the world? I mean, I don't think I said anything too controversial. Or did I say something crazy that I didn't know about? And then I looked. I was like, oh, it's just these dudes all arguing. It's this guy saying I'm an a-hole.
Did I tweet we'll be fine? Don't worry about it.
It just makes me laugh. Ira Schoffel, warchant.com, the website. Check it out. He joins us now, as he usually does on Monday. Hello, Ira. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, Jeff. How are you?
I'd be better if we'd win some of these close games, but alas, we do not. I also want to point out, Ira, and I think this is great. If you go to warchant.com right now, I want everybody to do that. You'll see all the articles. But if you scroll down, because I'm here right now as I speak to you, I love it. Right next to right under Warchant TV, the facial expressions you and Corey have. It's just the greatest thing of all time. It's so representative and emblematic of the game, right? It's just like, look at Corey's face. He's got that bewildered, like, what are we looking at? And you're just pissed. You have this, like, it's raining. My white hair is under assault from the liquid from above. I don't know what we're going to do here. It's just fantastic. I'm going to make that my avatar.
Some guy tweeted at us. He said, Ira's facial expression is a perfect representation of everything about this football program right now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna respond back to him. So when they get good, you're gonna have, like, Gene's gonna have to hire somebody good looking. Like, is that what's gonna have to happen?
I think Corey's facial expression is mine from Saturday night when we chose to kick it. It's like the second I saw Ricky Aguayo take the field, I'm like, what? What are we doing? What is this? All right, so they lost again. It was a road game after all, which means it's like clockwork. But as I'm fond of saying, losses happen for a reason. Ira, big picture here, man. I always allow for that after our losses. Your thoughts on what we're seeing here? I do think now we've entered into a realm where there is legitimate conversation happening. Whether people agree with it or not is somewhat irrelevant. There is now legitimate conversation about the direction of the program and whether or not Florida State might be better off looking elsewhere going into next season. Obviously, there's still football to be played that will help make that decision easier or tougher. But they continue to make the kinds of in-game mistakes and decision-making miscues that have people wondering about leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair after that game to ask some serious questions and take stock of where things are and where you think they're going to be going. But I would also say that any kind of conversations are like that. I think, in my opinion, and I'm not in those conversations, but in my opinion, those are kind of doomsday scenario conversations. Like, what do we do if this thing just completely bottoms out?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they win 6 or 7 games, if they win 3 of these last 5 or say 4 out of these last 5, nothing's going to happen. If they only win 2 out of these last 5, I think you have to have real conversations because one of those wins would be against Alabama State. But I just think that from a big picture standpoint, as I've said before, it is super, super, super rare for a coach to be fired in the first 2 seasons, especially when you look at the program he inherited. I'm not saying that I know for sure that Willie Taggart's the guy. When you look around and you see schools that hire and fire coaches quickly, it's generally not a recipe for success.
I think it's 2 different conversations, right? I think on the one hand, that's absolutely true. It's unlikely, barring a complete collapse, more losses, then at some point economics make the decision for you, and you recognize that you're going to be forced to move on. He very well could win 3 of the next 4. I also think it's true that a good percentage of this fan base has seen enough to not believe that he's the right guy. And so even if Willie Taggart is to come back for next season, which is likely, I think, there's not a real buzz and feeling of forward progress and momentum being built here under his stewardship. And that has people, sad because apathy and indifference is dangerous for a football program. And I think that's based on the ticket sales we'll see this week and season ticket sales or lack thereof is the situation Florida State continues to find themselves in.
Yeah, without question. I mean, it's always a business decision at the end of the day. I would say that I think it's fair for fans to feel like they've seen enough, that they know where this thing is headed. I would say this, and again, this is not me lobbying for Willie Taggart because I don't know that he's going to be the answer. But I would say that we talked about this last week on headlines. In 2011, I was pretty sure Jimbo Fisher wasn't the right guy. He made some crazy decisions that year, and then in 2012. He had some really bad decisions. Now, they were playing at a better level overall, but in terms of head coaching decisions, I definitely didn't foresee that. It was funny. I was talking at being at Wake Forest. I was telling somebody this earlier. Every stadium we go to on the road, you kind of have memories of certain things from times you went there in the past. And I remember distinctly being there in 2011 when Florida State lost to Wake Forest, to a not good Wake Forest team, and watching some of the players, Bjorn Werner, trying to console Anthony McLeod and some other guys who were furious about how the offense played, were furious that they lost that game. And, again, at that moment, I'm thinking, man, the wheels are coming off here. So all I'm saying is you don't know. I mean, I wish you could know. I wish you could tell after, one season or a season and a half that it's definitely not going to work. I'm just telling you, you don't know. And so we'll see. Now, the unfortunate thing is so many people have dug in their heels that literally everything he says, they're mad about. And everything he does, their fans are mad about. And so that becomes counterproductive. And, I would, again, remind people, even if Florida State can come up with the money to buy him out after this season or next season, and I'm sure they could because, like you said, it's a business decision, that's not the best-case scenario for Florida State.
No.
I mean, the best-case scenario for Florida State is them Willie Taggart figuring it out and this program turning around. Now, you could say, I don't believe it's ever going to happen, and that's fine. That's fair. I'm just telling you, historically, a lot of people have thought that in different situations, and it turns out that you can't always predict it 18 or 19 or 20 games in.
Yeah, no, it's murky waters that we're in because you're touching on something interesting. There are fair-minded people who look at the situation and say, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm seeing a guy in over his head. There's disorganization. There's a lack of discipline. There's continued in-game mismanagement. I just don't think it's going to work out. And you can have a normal conversation with that person, but also amongst the group of people who don't think it's going to work out are people who really have, as you said, dug their heels in and already had decided long before anything that happened this year that they didn't want Willie Taggart here. And that's not a rational conversation that you can have. And you want to push back against those people for looking at the situation unfairly. And then there are those that are sycophants who would say that nothing that happens this year will change their mind about Willie Taggart coming back next year. And then there are those who would tell you, well, I need more evidence, and that's fine. It's all convoluted. It's not so cut and dry, and I think that's true. I mean, I think that's true. I've seen plenty to criticize, and there's nothing wrong with looking at that and saying I have grave concerns about the kinds of in-game decisions we see and disorganization and misuse of timeouts, and I think that does not portend of a guy that's going to be here very long, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. But you're right, it does create a polarization, and that fighting is certainly not conducive to the kind of things that need to happen here for Willie Taggart and this program to get it turned around. At the same time, it's unavoidable.
Yeah, I mean, it's, there's a lot of, and I'm writing a column on this, kind of piecing together. I should have up in the next day or so, but tonight or tomorrow. But, I think this is a unique situation. We've talked about this before. It's a unique situation for Florida State's fan base. They haven't gone through this in over 4 decades. Coach Bowden won big in his second year. Jimbo won big in his first year. They each won 10 games really early on. And on top of that, Jimbo had been a Power 5, very successful offensive coordinator. So there was more to believe in based on what he had done at this level. Willie doesn't have that track record at this level of football. So I get it. So you were going to be a little bit more forgiving even when he did dumb things. And Jimbo did dumb things those first 2 or 3 years, a lot of them. And they resulted in losses. So, but you were a little bit more forgiving, I think, because of that situation, because you knew his track record. Also, when you talk about financials, the big difference now from, say, even 10 years ago, or certainly 20 or 30 years ago, across college football, is in the old days, when we were coming up, when we were in college, people went to the games no matter what. Well, people don't go to the games no matter what anymore. So now it is a real factor. It's a much more realistic, drastic factor. Crowd attendance, what season ticket sales are look like, and all that. At the same time, you also can let the tail wag the dog if you're not careful, because you can react too quickly. Now you can end up being Tennessee, where you're paying off 3 or 4 head coaches and all these assistant coaches for years because you just keep panicking and keep hiring and firing new coaches. So again, I'm not saying Willie Taggart's the answer. I'm just saying emotions are really high right now, and I think it's the job of people in charge to not let themselves get too emotional about it.
Yeah, and I go back to something you alluded to a moment ago, which is ideally he does win these next 4 games. And there is a sense that things are getting better. Because there's no denying this year's version of Florida State football is better than last year's version. It's not good enough. It's not the standard around here. But it is certainly a better product than you saw a year ago. I don't disagree with those who say, well, I've seen improvement. Because it's not like we're coming on here and saying there's been no improvement. There is. But there's enough disconcerting elements of what we've seen from this coaching staff time and again to begin to formulate the opinion that maybe another guy would deserve a shot. How soon would that guy deserve the shot, and how do you navigate those waters? That's where this gets a really, really interesting kind of a script, if you will, because you've got all these players and factors, including what would be, I think, an outgoing president, which would mean a temporary AD, which would mean, who's going to be making the decisions. I mean, these are all things that matter greatly moving forward.
Oh, and on top of that, you've got people who want to make a change right away, right? And they don't want to, they want John Thrasher to make a change now. They don't want him to wait to retire. They want him to take care of it. Well, okay, that's fine. But these are the people that hired Willie Taggart.
I was going to say, yeah.
If you think they blew that one, you're dying for them to go like, hey, let's do that again. So again, I'm not saying that they blew it with Willie, and I don't know that they wouldn't get it right with the next guy. I'm just saying, again, there's a lot of reasons to be patient. There's, and I understand people are frustrated. And look, I watched that game. I don't think I would go with Hornibrook. I wrote that last week, not because I think he's a better quarterback, but because I believe he's calmer. I think that offense is taking on James's personality. I think he's kind of frenetic. and I think they play kind of frenetic. And so now there are things he does that I don't think Hornibrook could do. I mean, I also haven't forgotten that Alex got sacked 8 times in the game he started. James only got sacked once the other night, and they're playing guys on the offensive line who've never played before. So he did some good things in that game that Alex wouldn't do. There's a trade-off there. But and I also thought, obviously, the timeout before the field goal, there have been a lot of things that I don't like about what Willie Taggart has done. But again, you got to be careful when you just, want to rush into firing people, especially when you've got to pay them $15 to $20 million.
What's hard about it is that I think people feel a sense of hopelessness because what you're laying out before them is really untenable options. Like, hey, what do? We can't continue to live like this, but we have no choice because we really can't afford to do anything different, or there's no guarantee that the next candidate is out there to get this turned around. Who is he? This isn't one of those years where the guy is very obvious. There are years in college football where you look around, you're like, well, that guy's a no-brainer. Or these two candidates here would be perfect for the situation. You really don't have that here right now. I don't know who's the guy that everybody's in love with that you would go get that would get this turned around in a couple of years.
You almost never do. I mean, look at these SEC schools that do this over and over and over again. I mean, it's I don't know what the magic formula is other than hiring Nick Saban or Urban Meyer at least for like 6 years, 5 or 6 year window. There's no other. I don't think there's any other fail safe. I mean, I don't look at what Scott Frost is doing and saying, oh, man, that guy's a 100% home run. But that's what everybody was saying a year ago. I just think that there's always going to be some risk involved, and I don't know why it works. And again, and I mentioned this before, and it's going to be in my column, but I went back and looked at a lot of situations where coaches started off poorly and then turned it around. I mean, you look at Tom O'Brien at NC State and at Boston College, both places. Now, neither one of those has the expectations that Florida State has, but in both of those jobs, he started off terribly, didn't have a winning record for several seasons, but then eventually turned it around and had a lot of success. I'm not saying that that's the model. I'm just saying you don't know after 1 year or sometimes 2 years, and everybody acts like, oh, it's a done deal, and that like you said, that the next guy you hire is going to be a home run. What happens if you agree to pay off a Willie Taggart for 3 or 4 or 5 years to pay off his $15 or $20 million, and then you bring in a new head coach, and that guy doesn't succeed, and the fans again say, okay, well, we're not coming because you're not good. Now you're going to have to pay that guy off, and you haven't had people come into your games in 2 or 3 years. This is a much more sophisticated, difficult situation, I think, that fans believe. I feel like people just want to hit the reset button, and there's a lot at play here.
Certainly triggers emotions. It certainly is a rough time to be a Florida State Seminole in terms of expectations of seeing good football. I think people are scared. And people are scared. They can be irrational. I think there is a rational way to discuss this, including both sides, where you say, I think we should move on, or I think we should stay the course. You can lend credence to both those arguments right about now. I have grave concerns.
Here's the thing: if you think that Florida State should, if you can think not emotionally, if you can just think pragmatically, that Florida State has to do this because this is a disaster, this guy has no chance of doing it, we have to make a move, then okay, that's what you decide, then that's fine. And that you feel good about the administration's ability to make the right hire, and that you're going to find somebody who's willing to come right now or at the end of the season to come work for an administration that he doesn't know who's going to be in charge a year or two from now. If all of those things are there, if you can make all of that happen, then go ahead and make it happen. I just don't think all of those things are going to be in place. And I also don't know how you can say there's no chance he can be successful. Because, again, coaches make dumb decisions all the time. It just happens all. How many times do you watch games on Sundays and see coaches make decisions that don't make sense? I'm not defending Willie Taggart. I'm just saying it's not like he's the first guy to make a poor decision and turn out to be a decent head coach. So, we'll see. I'm a little bit bothered by how quickly in a year and a half everybody just wants to fire a guy when that's not what happens anywhere across the country. Hasn't happened anywhere. There's been, over the last 20 years, there's been 4 Power 5 coaches fired in the first 2 seasons. And those 4 coaches all went either 1-11 or 2-10 their last year. Now, if Willie goes 3-9, then okay, maybe you put him in that category. But if he goes 5-7, that's nothing like anybody else that's ever been fired in 2 seasons.
What I will say is he had the great misfortune of taking over a job where the distaste and frustrations were at a fever pitch because of the way things ended with Jimbo. You know, people were already incensed that they were being treated like an also-ran institution by the previous head coach. They felt betrayal. And I think Willie hurt himself big time when he sold that everything was going to be fine, that there was plenty of talent here, that this offense, lethal simplicity, was going to be high-flying. And then they went out and were horrible on offense, and they looked poorly coached, and they lost a lot of football games. I think it set him back. I think that's one. Go ahead.
Yeah, people feel like they were conned.
Yeah, they do. They feel like they were conned, and it sucks. I really wish. I think if he had to do it all over again, obviously he would not have been so optimistic. It's tough because you're on a booster tour and you're being asked questions about an institution that you love and you grew up rooting for and you want to believe is really close to being very, very good. You want people to buy into your tenure. You want people to jump on board and believe and invest emotionally and financially. It's awfully tough to get people to do that by walking through the doors and telling them we're going to suck. So I kind of understand how he got swept. I get it. He got kind of swept away, and then
and you also look at the talent. If you look in the locker room, you say, "Man, we can play. We should be able to beat the Wake Forest. We should be able to beat, the Boise States or whoever else." And that's where I get where the fans are frustrated because you see the overall talent, and I think he saw the overall talent and said, "Okay, we got a chance." I think there's more to it than that, though, and I think. If you follow sports, there's a lot more to it than that. And we'll see if he can, make that happen, if he can get the program where it needs to be to solve those issues. But, no, you're right. He did not handle that the right way. And I think even this offseason, he kind of did some of the same thing again. And that's, to his detriment now because people feel like they were sold a bill of goods and he's a guy that can't deliver it.
Look forward to the column. You said it'll be up tonight?
Yeah, it should be up tonight or first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's a long one, buddy. It's a long one.
Well, I look forward to it. I can read, Ira. It'll be.
I have to get a second cup of coffee.
I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Be good.
See you
right, later. That's Ira Schoffel, warchant.com, the website. Look, I do look forward to reading that. Yeah, it's a complicated situation. You can be frustrated. You can be dismayed. You can be forlorn. You can feel helpless. I mean, part of it is that I think people feel helpless. Like, well, what do we do? Well, what do we do now? We got all these sets of circumstances working against us financially and otherwise. I mean, I really kind of vetting that there with him. Go back to the conversation the way that the Jimbo era ended has certainly not helped. And we went into this just desperately wanting to feel good again about Florida State football, the program, and in the direction of it. And I mean, I'm not blaming. Willie's made his own mistakes, and those are documented, and we've talked about them, and those count. You can't. Everything is not Jimbo Fisher's fault. I'm just talking about how it affects emotions. People felt scorned, like a lever left. At the altar, right? This guy was our guy. We won a national championship with him, 29 straight games. This was our guy. It was going so well, swimmingly. And then all of a sudden, he starts to bitch a little bit, and bitch here, bitch there. And then it's becoming, we're hearing behind the scenes, it's really untenable, and he hates Andy Miller, and there's no getting along. All of a sudden, now some of this, again, maybe, sadly, is kind of out of his control. There's some life issues there, obviously with a very public and ugly divorce, and a medical situation with his son. I mean, that all adds up to a really ugly divorce, if you will. I mean, between the institution and him, right? And people felt like, and he kind of lied about it. Let's not
Oh, I was relieved. The day he was gone, I was relieved.
Well, the program was moving in the wrong direction. He was under 500 when he left. He was 5-6. This was it. He was coaching us to a losing season. That's what was going on.
Because that version of Jimbo was nothing.
No, it was a broken version of Jimbo. It was broken, and he was broken, and the program was broken, and it all fell to pieces. And people went, oh, Jesus, what in the world? Let's move on. And then the new guy came in, charismatic in the sense that he loved the institution in the same way we did, cared about its history, cared about the university and its players and its traditions in a way that Jimbo never seemed to. And so we embraced it. And he told us lethal simplicity at a press conference that we all remember well, right? And he won the PR battle time and again, went on the booster tour and told us it was a simple fix, that it wasn't a long rebuild like in other places he had been in the past, that the pieces were here, that there were good players here, that they just needed to be cajoled, had their arm put around them, right? And so we bought it to the tune of selling out a damn spring game like this place has never done before. And then thud. And then that season happened. And you get off to that start, and then this year they're 3-4. Clemson showed them just how far away they still are. Meanwhile, in Gainesville, their new head coach, Dan Mullen's got them winning, and they look better every week. And the distance continues to grow, and this sense of not only frustration, but this growing, ominous, this fear that, what if we never get back? Miami used to be good. They haven't been good in 20 years. Look around. It happens. Look at Nebraska. They were a juggernaut. They don't matter at all. Look at USC. Tennessee. I use them as the butt of a joke all the time, but people see that. They know it's possible, and they go, man, there's a lot of haves out there. We don't feel like we're in the mix, and this guy's not helping. Panic, panic, panic. I get it.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Of America, we purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120, on sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Hey guys, looking to unwind with a gin and tonic after a long day? Or reward yourself with an old-fashioned for you and a cosmopolitan for her? All from the comfort of home? Now you can, with a touch of a button. Introducing the DrinkWorks Home Bar by Keurig, an automated cocktail maker that delivers classic manly cocktails, flashy fruit cocktails, and everything in between right from your countertop. Each cocktail combines top-shelf spirits and premium mixers. Just insert the pod into the drink maker, press start, and your delicious cocktail, chilled to perfection, will be ready in under a minute. For a limited time, we're offering the DrinkWorks drink maker for a savings of $50 off the website price. This exclusive early bird offer won't last, so order yours today. To redeem this exclusive offer and experience the revolutionary DrinkWorks drink maker, go to drinkworks.com and enter code 2525 at checkout. That's drinkworks.com and enter code 2525 at checkout. Go beyond just wine and beer and step up your cocktail game at drinkworks.com. Keurig is a registered trademark of Keurig Green Mountain Inc. used under license. Please enjoy responsibly.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-tracked, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Lane's Medical Shop has all of your home medical needs. They carry home oxygen, hospital beds, nebulizers, walkers, wheelchairs, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and all sleep apnea supplies. Lane's also has a weight loss clinic in-house, no appointment necessary, including B12 injections and any prescriptions necessary with the lowest prices around, and delivers to Tallahassee and South Georgia. Located only 40 miles from Tallahassee. Go see Blake today, 210 West Main Street, Colquitt, Georgia, 229-758-9111.
It's football season in Florida's Panhandle, and the best place to shop for FSU apparel and merchandise is Garnet & Gold. Owned and operated by Seminoles for Seminoles for nearly 40 years. Garnet & Gold has a huge selection of FSU merchandise to serve you, the true Nole. Shop online 24/7 at garnetandgold.com. And on game days, visit us on West Pensacola Street, just 2 blocks from the stadium. And remember, we're always open at garnetandgold.com. Go Noles!
Excuse me, Captain. This is your wake-up call from the new TracFone Wireless.
What's that now?
What if you had to fly this plane while sitting back in the cabin?
I wouldn't have any control.
Well, that's what it's like going with some wireless companies, but TracFone Wireless gives you control. Get unlimited talk and text on America's best 4G LTE network starting at $20 a month, no contract. Plus, unlimited carryover data with active service.
That's cool, but how'd you get in my cockpit?
This is your wake-up call, people. The new TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
The Friday Night Lights are back on Tallahassee Sports Monster. Catch a full season of high school football action on 97.9 ESPN Radio. In broadcast partnership with the Varsity Sports Network. High school football on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. Whatever your heating or cooling needs, turn to the experts at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. 580-4029 and online at baranoac.com. You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio. Hello. A lot of things to consider there, huh? Oh, a lot of things to consider. Meanwhile, people feel in limbo. And I hate that feeling in my own life. You do too. Everybody does, man. If you don't have something that you're moving towards with a plan of action, you feel helpless. And it's so frustrating because to me, you can endure on the field setbacks. You can, it's not ideal, but you can endure tough seasons. As Ira pointed out, really, we had it good for 40 plus years. We just watched Florida have not one but 2 separate 4-win seasons. And you can bounce back from that if you have cachet, historical relevance as part of being the upper echelon of college football, which Florida State has firmly established themselves as being. Now, financial differences between this institution and that institution and some of the all-time greats certainly are a factor here. But recruiting relevance, regionality, all that stuff, Florida State would be able to bounce back relatively quickly with the right guy and the right approach and a renewed investment. What I hate, though, is that you don't have a surefire escape plan here, and it may very well be that you just have to wait this out. And nobody wants to go into a season feeling bereft of hope, which is what would happen if you stay the course going into next year. But it may be, I don't know the behind-the-scenes numbers on this, Tom. We were just talking about it during the break. It may be the right course of action.
It's hard because the question I asked you during the break was, okay, let's just say you stayed the course, whatever the hell that course is, and you decided that we'll be in a better financial position in 2 years' time or after 2 more seasons. The 2020 season is over now, 3 years completed. You're in a better financial position to make the move, the buyouts, the whole nine. My fundamental question in response to that is, are we sure that we're going to be in a better financial position at that point? Because if you're projecting out revenues and expenses, I know we're cutting back on the expenses side of the ledger.
But our revenues...
But, if ticket sales for the 2020 season mirror that of this season, then are we really doing ourselves a service by waiting? And that's the hard thing, where I fully understand where Ira's coming from, but I think when he was talking about that you got to stack up all these things on one side of the ledger, which is the finances, the fact that you're allowing this president, this athletic director to make the decision, and do you really trust them? If you can justify all of those things, then go ahead and make the move. I don't think either path is perfect. That's why these are like
tough
really
decisions,
hard
yeah.
times.
Really tough decisions. Yeah.
Because to keep him is an imperfect solution, at least as it stands right now. And then to make the move would also be imperfect as a choice. But somebody's got to step up and make that choice. And it doesn't have to be today. But
Well, it
I think in
can't be
December,
today. I mean, it's going to happen at the end of the season. It's not going to be during the year. And it ought not be. That doesn't serve any purpose unless you're hiring from within, and I don't know that anybody feels great about that. But
whether or not it's verified, it's out there, man. I mean, the talking point that Florida State has at least approached Jimmy Sexton. That's what 24/7 said, that they've at least approached him about the potential for a buyout. Now, listen,
I would only warn that happens frequently. I mean, these kinds of meetings with agents,
I understand. And maybe the nature of the conversation isn't as in detail. Who knows what the full nature of that conversation was, but even that it's out there, that doesn't help matters.
No, where Florida State's at right now with these kinds of debates, it's not what you want. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world for rival schools to use against you in recruiting. I mean, look at these guys. They can't decide whether they're going to hire or fire this guy. I don't even know he's going to be there. And if he is, we don't even know which assistants are coming back and which ones aren't.
Because, like, what I'm seeing is I'm looking at the future of the staff itself first. And Kendall and Randy weren't going to be long-term replacements for Walt Bell and Greg Fry
We
anyway.
don't think.
We didn't think.
We don't think.
We thought maybe 2 or 3 seasons max, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got turnover coming there in that regard at some point here, either this offseason, the one after. That's the likelihood. You already know that defensive coordinator, there's going to be a change. You think it's going to be Levitt. We'll see what kind of offers he gets. The linebackers do look better. They played pretty well, actually.
Yeah, Emmett Rice had a good game. D-Jack's actually played pretty well lately, too.
They know where to be in their drops a little bit better, that there's some improvement there. So I'm looking at it long term and saying, all right, the path out of this is to win now against this soft schedule. Like, you win, you're able to make some pitches in some living rooms, and this coaching staff, which was able to give you a top 15 class or top 20 class.
But they're 3-4 against this schedule.
Right.
And so there is a beatdown coming at the end of the year.
And you're telling me that I have to expect that we win at least 3 of these next 4 games? I can't. I mean, okay, so it's 2 out of 3 outside of Alabama State. We got to win 2 out of those 3 between
and
Syracuse, Miami, and Boston College.
And 2 of them are home.
You telling me to bank on that right now?
Well, I'm not telling you it's going to happen. I mean, it's not impossible that it's going to happen. It wouldn't even be stunning if it happened. If they beat Syracuse and Miami at home, nobody's going to be like, oh, my God, that's a miracle. I mean, maybe some would be, but I don't think so. I mean, Syracuse is bad. Miami is bad. No guarantees we go on the road and win a game against Boston College. I'll say that. I've had to reassess that situation.
So that's the hard part, is I don't see like where the momentum's going to come from in recruiting in the near term, and I don't know what the staff is going to look like in the near to long term underneath Willie as the head coach. And those are 2 massive problems when you're trying to flip a program.
Yeah, it might be, though. You're juxtaposing that, Tom, and that's true. All those factors you have to consider, but it might very well be that you have to weather the storm for one more year where there is very little forward momentum, where there is another year of mediocrity at best, and then you're in a better financial position. Maybe we need to see these numbers to make a move, because that would be 3 years in. You're paying out considerably less at that point. You're also not taking as big a PR hit if you give a guy a good 3 years and nothing is moving in the right direction after 3 years. I think in today's climate, people are more willing to say after 3 full seasons. Used to be you got 5. David Hale and I were talking about this. You remember on Friday. Used to be you got 5 years. Those days have long since passed. Then it was you got 4. Well, not everybody gets 4 anymore. But almost everybody certainly gets 3.
Yeah.
And it may very well be, just from a PR hit standpoint, nationally, I'm saying, in terms of the way you're also perceived by other coaches, some of whom you're going to be interviewing for this job. A lot of guys would look at any institution that fires a coach after 2 years and say, some quick triggers down there in Tallahassee for all the problems they have. I'm not so sure I want to be there.
At that point, the university has to make the case unequivocal, right? That to say, man, this was beyond the wins and losses. We had to do this. This is the time to make a move, because, listen, the one thing that this athletic director can do quite well, and I'm sure he can do many things, but the one thing we know for a fact at the top of the list he can do well is he can balance the books. and he could see the numbers. And he already said it in the preseason that, hey, listen, this was Jimbo's mess, but at the end of the day, it's about ticket sales.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a pretty good pulse, or finger on the pulse, I should say, of what the revenue would look like if season ticket sales continue at this rate into a 2020 football campaign, a 2021 football campaign, and what the revenues expenses would shake out like if fan support is no better than it is this season. Because that's going to be the thing that I think would tip the scales, save for winning 4 out of your next 5, something like that.
Or losing.
Or then I think it's easy at that point.
Well, that's what I said before. Ultimately, and we know this, it is a business. It's always a business element to all of this. If they were to lose at home on homecoming to Syracuse and turn around and lose to that Miami team that just lost to freaking Georgia Tech, and then went on the road and lost to Boston College, and the only win you got the remainder of the year was against Alabama State, and then you got blown out the end of the year by the University of Florida, I think your decision's made. But those are big ifs because it's just as easy to paint a scenario by which you beat Syracuse at home this upcoming Saturday and then, beat Miami in a close game and go win another one by the skin of your teeth against Boston College, I suppose. I'm having a hard time seeing that these days just because we don't win on the road ever.
Has nothing to do with the opponent, right?
It's just we don't ever win on the road. But,
maybe we should change the location of the Alabama State game. That way we can learn what it feels like this year.
Yeah. Imminently winnable games remain Syracuse, Miami, Boston College, Alabama State. Be a good idea if you're trying to change the narrative, Coach Taggart and staff, to win all those 4 games. I don't think it's reasonable at this point to say you're going to beat Florida, but these 4, yeah, you could win those.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Syracuse and Miami.
Or visit Seminoles.com today.
Xfinity delivers the fastest internet, the most Wi-Fi coverage throughout your home, and the most Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. Only from Xfinity. Call, click, or visit an Xfinity store today to experience all Xfinity has to offer.
Times can be tough, but getting a late model car is easy at Champion Auto Sales. Champion Auto Sales can quickly approve you, no matter how bad your credit. Bankruptcy, repossessions, bad credit, no credit. Champion Auto Sales can have you riding today. Give them a call at 850-999-8395 or visit them on the web at championautofl.com. Their brand is quality and credit approval is guaranteed. Champion Auto Sales, 2754 West Tennessee Street across from TCC. Stop by today.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Scherer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
The new $5 million luck scratch-off is here. To find one, there's a special call. It goes like this. Luck, 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 luck. If you do it long enough and loud enough, someone is bound to get you one in order to make it stop.
The new $5 million luck scratch-off with more than $329 million in cash prizes. Find yours today. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it.
Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
Hello, Eddie. How the heck are you, buddy?
I'm okay. I guess we got to do this commercial.
Time for the bantering to begin.
Yeah, but you know what, Jeff? I want something different now.
You don't want to banter anymore.
I enjoy the banter. I do. But I want theme music, Jeff. Gordo's needs theme music.
Gordo's, the restaurant, the delicious food and the people and the atmosphere. Gordo's, not you personally, but Gordo's.
Yes,
I like
Gordo's, not me. I mean, of course, I would love to have people following me around playing music all the time.
Especially at Gordo's.
It's always in my head. But I need something for Gordo's. I need to have something special, something that, heck, the King of the Hill has his own theme music. The Kids in the Hall. Why not me? Why not Gordo's?
Why not Gordo's? All right. I guess I'm going to be looking for some theme music.
You mean you're going to have Tom looking for some theme music?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep, get on it, Tommy. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Excuse me, Captain. This is your wake-up call from the new TracFone Wireless.
What's that now?
What if you had to fly this plane while sitting back in the cabin?
I wouldn't have any control.
Well, that's what it's like going with some wireless companies, but TracFone Wireless gives you control. Get unlimited talk and text on America's best 4G LTE network starting at $20 a month, no contract. Plus, unlimited carryover data with active service.
That's cool, but how'd you get in my cockpit?
This is your wake-up call, people. The new TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Hi, it's me, your nose. I'm so congested. Use the Vicks Sidex nasal spray, would you? Mouth breather. Yeah, the Vicks Sidex nasal spray. Starts working in seconds and lasts for up to 12 hours.
I can breathe again. Vicks Sinex nasal spray is incredible. I feel like a whole new nose. Oh, let's buy a new car so we can smell it. Oh, we're really breathing now.
For nasal congestion relief, get Vicks Sinex and breathe freely fast. Use as directed.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Well, here's the good news. Beat Syracuse by 28 on Saturday, Tom, and we have a festive homecoming. Turning it around. In truth, it's a wait and see. And wait and see doesn't sit well. So it's a wait and see.
I feel like it was a wait and see before wake. And now it's like a
this
wait
was
and
this,
dread.
But
and
this
then look.
this is the direct result of losing a week. We said this is going to be a very, very big game in terms of perception for Coach Taggart and in his career here in Tallahassee. I felt like that game was very big. You're going against Wake's backup quarterback. Look, you got better players. Now, I will say, have better players at every position. I mean, that's the status of the program currently, where the old Florida State certainly rolled in there and was literally better at every position. I mean, occasionally, maybe you weren't better at kicker or something, but you were better at any position that required an ounce of athleticism. That's not this program anymore. So certainly Wake has a couple of receivers that would play here that you go, okay, yep, that works. But you still had better skill position players. There's a reason Wake played off. They were certainly not going to let themselves get beat over the top because they knew they didn't have the athletes. And you've seen this before with teams, and it's what's frustrating to fans because you can tell, man, we got a dynamic player here that they don't match up with here, and here. Now, the offensive line oftentimes mitigates a lot of that, and then also really wildly inconsistent quarterback play for us helps mitigate the advantages we do have as well. You're right. It's almost of no use to go through and break down the elements of the game that you did like. There were some. I mean, certainly at linebacker, they played pretty well. It's been about the best they've played at linebacker over the last couple of weeks, not counting Clemson where they had no shot. But NC State, they did. Louisville, we saw progress there. I mean, they're getting better in that regard. Emmett Rice had a great game.
Yeah, they're finding people in zones at linebacker instead of just standing idly in a random spot on the field.
I think certainly that's how Levitt's come in and helped out. I think you're seeing the evidence of that. But these are the things you want to embrace. It's just so much easier to embrace those things after wins, after getting wins. points. And then I just think that what ends up happening is it's not just that you are not winning as many games as you want to. You do have these time management issues. I mean, and really everything seems to center around special teams problems. This year and last, you've had a lot of these situations where you have 10 men on the field and you have to call timeout before a punt or a kick return.
You don't catch the ball ever. That was an interesting moment in today's
obviously,
press
Corey
conference.
asked Coach Taggart about that, and Coach Taggart didn't like it. Truth is, though, we cost ourselves tons of yards in field position every time we don't catch one of those. I understand why the question was asked. So somebody tweeted at me, well, Jeff, you had to call timeout. We were going to get a delay of game. No, I get the actual reason he called timeout. My point is, if you're thinking a step or two ahead of a situation, that doesn't happen. Most of the time you're discussing on third down, if we don't get this, what's our plan? Are we going to go kick it? Or are we going to go for it? If you're going to go for it, it changes the kinds of plays you call, because now you got 2 plays to get the necessary yardage. Yeah. So you got to know ahead of time. We often don't seem to know ahead of time what our plan is.
Well, and the one thing about that third down play, the tight end screen,
right?
Trayshawn actually runs up to the guy he's supposed to block and then avoids him like it's a rub play or something. So he jukes away from the guy that he needs to block, and then he goes and finds another person.
No,
to block
we missed the block. Yeah,
but he ran up to him. Like, he ran up to his face, and he decided, nah, I'm not going to block you. I'm going to go block a different guy, and that's the player that we needed, I think, to block in that moment. Yeah, and that's where I think if you're watching on film, and I feel bad for you if you're one of the coaches. I mean, you must be throwing up on the table in there. Are you kidding me?
But you're talking about a lack of execution there, and people would say that's on the coaches, that these guys continue to miss in those moments or look discombobulated and confused. I mean, the end of the Virginia game is a calamity.
Yeah.
Nobody's on the same page. Nobody knows what the play is. Nobody has an idea what we're doing. There are too many of these moments that it is fair to criticize Coach Taggart and his staff for. And so it's not enough that you're not winning games and you're losing in heartbreaking fashion to help you ignore some of the progress that's being made, as we said earlier. It's that you have these moments literally littered throughout close contests in which you came up short. I mean, that's tough to stomach. It's where the vitriol comes from. It's where the frustrations overtake people. I get that. I really do. That shouldn't happen. That is a fair criticism, and it does speak to disorganization.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, just the reason that I sound so disappointed today, beyond the obvious, is I didn't think there would be a sense of urgency to the point that we weren't cashing in on this schedule the way it was laid out against these teams, especially after about 2 weeks into the season. You see that, wow, this ACC this year is
not good.
It's not good at all.
No.
So I thought, okay, 7 wins, probably the floor here, as long as we navigate the way we're supposed to navigate.
And now that's in danger.
And now it's like the ceiling. And shoot, man, like the path back for me, like that was the window with this staff and the momentum that we needed to generate this offseason.
We were going to fool kids. There's no doubt. That's what we talked about when the schedule came out. You and I celebrated that day when the schedule came out. I went, oh, thank goodness. Look at this. Nicely done. Thank you, ACC. This is we can do this. This is, you can navigate this.
And now the best is neutral momentum. That's what we're trying to salvage, like late season 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 run here, something like that, to leave momentum in neutral from.
Well, you certainly you have to. You got to do something.
And that's the best you can do.
Yeah, it is the best you can do.
Jesus.
Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Go to drinkworks.com and enter code 2525 at checkout. That's drinkworks.com and enter code 2525 at checkout. Go beyond just wine and beer and step up your cocktail game at drinkworks.com. Keurig is a registered trademark of Keurig Green Mountain Inc. used under license. Please enjoy responsibly.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Times can be tough, but getting a late model car is easy at Champion Auto Sales. Champion Auto Sales can quickly approve you, no matter how bad your credit. Bankruptcy, repossessions, bad credit, no credit. Champion Auto Sales can have you riding today. Give them a call at 850-999-8395 or visit them on the web at championautofl.com. Their brand is quality and credit approval is guaranteed. Champion Auto Sales, 2754 West Tennessee Street across from TCC. Stop by today.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
People always appreciate it when you deliver on a promise and go the extra mile. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, our team would treat you like you would want to be treated. Zero interest financing and low monthly payments are available when you're approved for the Carrier credit card. Apply at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Your next haircut now has a shortcut. Introducing the Sport Clips Haircuts app. That's right, now the cut you want is just a tap away. Just download the app, check in at your neighborhood Sport Clips, and choose your Guy Smart stylist, and you're done. We'll text you when your stylist is almost ready. Then head to Sport Clips for a championship haircut experience. It's home field advantage for your hair. No appointment needed. Just download the Sport Clips app and check in. And don't forget a beard trim. Sport Clips. You choose the cut, we cut the weight.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is hosting the Makita Driving Innovation Tour on October 23rd at their Crawfordville location and October 24th at their Tallahassee location. Enjoy a demo truck on site, and all Makita tools will be 10% off. Over 100 tools available for the demo, and you can speak with Makita reps and experience the Makita difference. Free 5 amp hour battery with the purchase of any 5 amp hour brushless kit or subcompact kit. You can also receive 2 free 5 amp hour batteries with the purchase of any X2 kit. This 2-day only factory authorized sale will be at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Prices so low they can't be advertised.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Buddy Hield, the centerpiece of the Kings and part of a Sacramento backcourt considered one of the NBA's elite, agreed to a 4-year, $94 million extension with the team, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. It includes $86 million guaranteed money, as well as bonuses and incentives that could elevate the contract to $106 million over the term of the deal. The unbeaten Patriots take on the Jets on Monday Night Football to close out Week 7 of the NFL season. 7 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Could be another tough night for New York's offense, which is averaging a league-worst 3.9 yards per play. New England's vaunted defense is allowing just over 4 yards per play. That is tops in the NFL. Saints quarterback Drew Brees, in a text to ESPN's Chris Mortensen today, said he plans to return to practice on Wednesday. New Orleans has gone 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater filling in for Brees, so that team certainly doesn't need to rush Brees back, notes Mort.
It gives them a chance to play it safe with Drew and let him go through everything he needs to go through. And Teddy has played exactly the way you would expect Teddy to play. He's a true pro. He played probably his best game yesterday against the Bears. At the same time, their defense is playing at such an elite level that you don't have to force Brees in there.
Our Chris Mortensen. Coach Sean Payton said the goal was to get Brees back against the Cardinals next week, and if he's healthy, he plays. Michigan State, for the first time in program history, number 1 in the Associated Press Top 25 men's college basketball preseason poll. Kentucky, number 2, and number 3 is Kansas. Former Miami and Georgia football coach Mark Richt said he had a heart attack early today, but anticipates a quick recovery. Richt, currently an analyst for the ACC network and ESPN, tweeted he's doing fine and plans on returning to work later this week.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. As bleak as it sometimes feels, we certainly appreciate you joining on in. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. Actually, I think we've been reasonable today. People hear what they want to hear. Some people say we've been too sympathetic. Others say we've been vitriolic. Others have said, you're right in the middle. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. I think I said that already. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Go there to listen live via the streaming free. If you miss portions of the show, we post all 3 hours of the program every day upon its conclusion right there on iTunes. We also put it in the audio vault. You can email us if you like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's @JCameronShow. I'm behind on the emails. A lot of good emails, I'm sure. Several ridiculous, I'm positive. But I'll double check. I'll get back to you. And if they're worthy tomorrow, we'll get to them in some capacity, or Wednesday, one or the other.
You know, the band was good at Hangar 38 the other night.
They were. That's right. I hadn't thought about it. We had a good time at Hangar 38. Thanks to everybody that came out. We really enjoyed it. Certainly wish the results had been different, but it was a good time to watch that game, and really back-to-back games. Obviously, Florida State fell, but the needed distraction of the joy of entertainment and good food and good people of Hangar 38 help subdue or quell any frustrations you may have had in the moment.
Much distraction, yes.
Much distraction.
Connect 4 basketball.
Without question.
That'll help.
Yeah, it's, well, you get they make such a good deal. I know I'm just prattling on here, but it's $30 for 2 hours to play every game you want as many times as you want. Good Lord. You just bring the kids in there and say, go! Leave me alone! Go do what you got to do! Go play!
Or tell me a story, kids. Tell me about school, because we've got a 3rd and 10 coming up here, and I feel like there's some
we're gonna
missed tackles along the way.
Yeah. You know, the play of the game, it's not the play of the game, but we didn't talk about it today, was my man's just wide open. Nobody's covering him. He's waving his hand.
It's Gavin. Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
I think the official response is he's got to be more demonstrative and getting James' attention.
Or James needs to look at him.
Yeah.
Good God, man. Take a glance before we snap that ball. Let's go. That was something. It's one of many. If you're hopping in the car, yes, we've discussed it all day, and we'll continue to do so. It can be nauseating. Florida State falls on the road again, and the tension mounts within the fan base. The frustration grows, and the discussion at large is an awful lot about whether or not this team is improving at a quick enough rate for the liking of Florida State fans, and are they demonstrably better than they were a year ago? And if the answer is no to that, is Willie Taggart the guy to get them there? You can think it's unfair, or you can think it's absolutely warranted, or you can fall somewhere in the middle, but that's the reality of the situation. That's what's being talked about. And it was before I came on the air today. I didn't lead you to that water, but that's where we're at. And I get it. I get it. They're not a good football program right now. In some ways, I do think Willie gets blamed for things that happened before he was here, but he hasn't done much to help it. So I think that, being bad at football for not just this year, but also last year and also the year before has led to this growing anger where you go, okay, now enough is enough. I mean, we have sucked to high heaven for 3 full years just about, and really we were pretty average before that, so it's like 4 years of not mattering at all, and all around us, things are getting out of control. Clemson in our own division for starters, and it's
the folks down in Gainesville, yeah.
Yeah, I keep bringing that up. I mean, they're legitimately, if you're being objective, when I watch Florida play, I see a program that is improved. They got lucky that Felipe Franks, I mean, I didn't wish it upon him. I've said this before, but I'll reiterate. Felipe Franks going down helped that program because they've got an improved quarterback play, tougher quarterback play, and I think in addition to that, they've kind of taken on Trask's personality, and they're really good on defense too. So you're just in a situation now where you watch Florida ascend, and you took comfort before knowing that, well, we were trying to figure it out over here. They were at least terrible. Like, they're awful. Don't worry about them. They're awful. We get that win at the end of the year. That'll be nice, right? I mean, it matters when you're playing poorly if they're playing well.
Mm-hmm.
It only adds to the consternation that one feels as a Florida State fan right now. Imagine if Miami were good. Woo. You throw in Clemson being what they are, Florida rising, and Miami being good, this place would be on fire. So it's just...
There's some smoke out there, though, right now.
It is.
Just a little bit.
Well, and you know what it does? What it ends up doing is it paves the way for sort of this uncomfortable interaction between the coaching staff and not just the press, but really the fan base. I'm not saying they're going to go out of their way to attack fans or anything like that, but there's just a tension, and it's a constant. You just feel – because almost by definition, when you're watching a guy up against it, who's in real danger of seeing something that he holds in high regard be taken away. When you're watching that from afar and there's a question about whether or not he's going to have a firm grasp on it, it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes to see people coaching for their jobs. But that's kind of what you feel like you're looking at every time you step foot in the stadium. I mean, think about the reality of homecoming this Saturday. You go and you want to celebrate homecoming. You want to celebrate the times you were here or whatever it might be with family and friends and fellow alumni. But the conversation is what? You think we're going to win today? I don't know.
Yeah, every drive feels like life or death.
Right.
If you have back-to-back 3 and outs, you're like, well, this isn't going to work. This failed. This whole thing. I mean, really, that's
it
because
does.
you have a 5-minute commercial break every 10 minutes. So you got to think about it more. And that's the problem. Like, that was a lot of the conversations on Saturday. The quarter breaks or the any number of replay reviews or targeting reviews. I mean, what's going on? Everybody's just having conversations about the larger issue beyond the fact that, whatever we think is going to happen with the targeting rule, just pick the opposite. And that's exactly the ruling that they're going to come back with. But people are having big discussions instead of, watching the game and saying, well, Cam Akers is a monster tonight. They're saying, you think this is going to work? I don't think this is going to work. And when you're in a bad way, that's right. Everything turns into the biggest discussion.
Yeah, everything turns into a referendum. Each drive turns into a referendum. Each quarter, each game. Yeah, it's a referendum every time, and that gets exhausting. It's exhausting more than it is anything else. It's also it's not appealing because, I get it. I met somebody the other day, or I talked to somebody the other day who's been a long-time listener to this show, back more than 15 years. And he told me, he said, I listen, Jeff, because it's you and I know you and I like you and I'm entertained. He goes, but there are just days where I can't do it. I just can't do it. And he's like, no offense to you. It's just like I'm so exhausted by how bad we've been for how long this has been going on. And, I get that. It's just like go into the games themselves if you're from out of town. You're going to go, yeah, I want to go. I love to go. It's my school, but I don't know. This is getting tough, And I get that. But in truth, and this is where we really were fortunate. In truth, it hasn't been that long. Florida State's only been down now for 3 years, as I just said. That's not that long, man. There have been bigger, more successful, more financially well-off programs down longer than this one is currently. You know, I don't say all that to make you feel worse, but it can get worse.
Hey, man, I've been here since 2006. Most of the time that I've been here, there have been problems.
Well, luckily, you also, in the midst of all that, got to see a glorious run indeed.
I got 29 straight and a trip out to Pasadena.
2 of them.
Yep, well, 2 of them. That's right.
And a national championship, a Heisman Trophy, and you and I stood in that locker room after said national championship victory and got to take all that in. That never goes away.
But don't call me spoiled. You lived through the 90s.
I did. I was here then. It was a good time to be here. My goodness gracious. Well, you know, we wanted, and we've said it for a while, that it's important for the city that things continue to improve, and FAM is doing their part. So that's a huge win. Don't want to overlook that game that got moved and everything else. That's a huge win for FAM, and it's a huge win for that program. And congratulations to Willie Simmons and what he's been able to do there.
And also, 2 weeks from Wednesday, we tip it off against Pitt. Boom! Basketball season
Let's
underway.
Get it on, baby. Oh, man. Well, that's a program that deserves our attention and
I think they're a
celebration.
Exhibition is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
What?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's already here, man. Thank you to football for getting us to basketball. We just needed them to be the bridge to get us to
done
basketball
their part.
season.
They got us there. We're practically there. I'm ready to jump on board. Choo choo!
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
And construction job sites. Call them today at 421-9002. That's 421-9002. Or stop by gtelectricfl.com.
It's bow time at Bojangles. Come in today for a 3 Chicken Supremes dinner for just $4.99. Each Chicken Supremes dinner comes with 3 of our bold, craveable chicken tenders, your choice of fixin', and a fresh buttery biscuit. Plus, you'll get a free legendary iced tea. For a limited time, get Bojangles 3 Chicken Supremes dinner with your choice of fixin' and a biscuit for just $4.99. And don't forget that free iced tea. Bojangles, it's bow time, y'all.
As sports fans, we all know this is the best time of the year. And the best places to catch all the action are at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and 7th Hill Tap Room. If you'd like a laid-back atmosphere, the 7th Hill Tap Room is your spot. 24 craft brew taps, plus wine options as well. And when you want to watch the pros, enjoy half off all craft drafts all day on Sundays. So, whether you're feeling the upstairs at the Corner Pocket or lounging down at the 7th Hill Tap Room, your game day is always covered. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, right next to Earth Fair.
Times can be tough, but getting a late model car is easy at Champion Auto Sales. Champion Auto Sales can quickly approve you, no matter how bad your credit. Bankruptcy, repossessions, bad credit, no credit. Champion Auto Sales can have you writing today. Give them a call at 850-999-8395 or visit them on the web at championautofl.com. Their brand is quality and credit approval is guaranteed. Champion Auto Sales, 2754 West Tennessee Street across from TCC. Stop by today.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Sharer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Excuse me, Captain. This is your wake-up call from the new TracPhone Wireless.
What's that now?
What if you had to fly this plane while sitting back in the cabin?
I wouldn't have any control.
Well, that's what it's like going with some wireless companies, but TracPhone Wireless gives you control. Get unlimited talk and text on America's best 4G LTE network starting at $20 a month, no contract. Plus, unlimited carryover data with active service.
That's cool, but how'd you get in my cockpit?
This is your wake-up call, people. The new TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Come on, pick me!
Yoo-hoo! Pick me! Pick me!
No, pick me!
Take your pick with the Florida Lottery Pick Daily Games. With Pick 2, Pick 3, Pick 4, and Pick 5, you could win top prizes from $50 to $50,000. And you have 2 chances to win every day. The Pick Daily Games from the Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it!
Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Taggart this morning. That interview aired in the 3 o'clock hour, but as you know, on Mondays, we like to make sure those of you hopping in the car on your way home also get to hear from the coach without searching around too much. And so here I am speaking with Willie Taggart this morning about the loss to Wake Forest. And fire it up, Tom. Coach, thanks for your time. As always, I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on, Jeff.
Absolutely. Now, let's go through it. A lot to unpack here. So, as always, I want to start with your observations and analysis after watching the film. We don't get to watch the film, and I know the All-22s tell a different story a lot of times. Now that you've had the opportunity to look at it, what factors would you say, I guess, most contributed to the outcome?
Well, I think we just got to make the winning plays when those opportunities come. You know, we had opportunities to make some winning plays in that game, and we didn't. You know, you think about the 2 turnovers that was down in the scoring zone. We didn't take advantage of, and that's critical for our football team. And I mean, I think to put it all in a nutshell, they made 5 field goals, 6 field goals. We missed. 5 field goals. I'm sorry, and we missed a field goal, and we turned the ball over twice, and they didn't. And you just can't do that on the road against a good football team.
What's the process of getting your kids to battle through these kinds of things and find ways to make winning plays?
Well, you just got to keep fighting. You know, you got to keep fighting and keep putting them in a situation, and hopefully eventually they come through and make the play that they know they're capable of making, especially when there's pressure situation. You know, our guys know they can make the plays. They just got to make them, and I think more importantly for our football team, just learn to finish these ball games. We're in these ball games in the fourth quarter, and we got to learn to finish them.
Take us through, I know you've talked about it, but I want to get clarification. Take us through the second to last possession. You chose to kick a field goal there. You had to use a timeout after not converting on 3rd down. Were you contemplating going for it there? What led to the timeout?
Well, we was rushing on a field goal to get lined up, and didn't want that for Ricky. If you look at it, when we snapped the ball, it was a bad snap, so luckily we did call a timeout. But didn't want him to rush. Wanted him to just go and get ready. But if you look at it, time was running down, and it's more of a rushing thing than anything.
Did you contemplate going for it at all, though?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Wanted Ricky to go and win the game. We had a play call before that to try to get us in a better situation. Had a missed block, and maybe we could have got a lot more than what we probably got a first down or more if we would have executed on that play, but we didn't. And felt Ricky can go and make the field goal. He had enough on it. We didn't make it.
This past week, Coach, I'm wondering, what was the timeline? I understand there's a strategic value to not revealing who's going to start at certain positions for you, but I'm curious, what was the determining factor? What was the timeline for you deciding to go with James Blackman as your quarterback? And are you getting the consistency that you're looking for from your quarterbacks, plural, for this offense to have more success?
Well, you go back and look at the game last week. I wouldn't say James' play was the reason for us losing. I thought James played well. He completed a high percentage of his passes. He threw 2 touchdowns. The one interception he got hit on where we missed the block. But I thought for the most part he did well enough for us to win the ball game. Are there some throws out there we wish we could have connected on? Absolutely. There's also some drops we wish we would have connected on as well. So I thought he played well enough to win the ball game, and we just didn't again, we didn't win as a team.
So obviously he's your guy going forward again this week?
Well, I haven't said anything different. I think everybody else talked about that, so that's just
it's a non-issue to you, right?
Say it again?
It's a non-issue for you. You're moving forward with James.
I'm moving forward with James. I'm moving forward with our football team and excited about our opportunity against Syracuse this week.
On that note, Coach, when you have a situation where you lose back-to-back games, fans get nervous, and they want to know that things are improving from this time last year to where we are now. What would you point to as definitive proof that despite those two losses, despite the record, things are moving in the right direction in your mind?
Well, you think back to last year, we wasn't in any of these games that we lost. These games, you look at our football team, it's probably 3 plays from being 6-1. We just got to finish ball games. We're in these games where we're up in the fourth quarter. Our team we got to learn to finish these ball games. That's on us to do it. So we just got to keep working and find a way to get a win. Especially when we're in these games. You think about some of the two of them on the road. We're still in these games, and we got to find a way to win them.
Really curious. I know the way they call a game anymore is really frustrating for football fans. I scream at my television and have a hard time watching games every weekend, whether it's Sunday or Saturday, with the way things are officiated. We had another player kicked out of a game, and I don't know, is there anything we can do or that you coaches can coach that would change the way that our guys tackle? It seems like we lose a guy so frequently, and I'm not saying that anybody wants to get kicked out of a game, and I understand that it can be awfully ticky-tacky, but I am curious, is there anything we're not doing?
Well, we're always coaching the right way and coaching for the safety of our players, and I don't think any player intentionally goes out to try to do the things that they know going to get them out of the game.
Right.
I just think this game is tough. It's tough on everyone. And we just got to keep harping on it and trying to get our guys to not lower their heads and more try to work on their target, which is keeping their face mask up in them and the head up and try to run through them without the crown of your helmet or without hitting a defenseless player. So that's something you just got to keep trying to teach and coach every single day, and hopefully our guys go out and just do it.
Finally, from an injury front, Coach, obviously we suffered another one. It's getting frustrating, but that's football. Any more updates as far as the relative health of the team?
Yeah, we're beat up. Yeah, we're beat up as a football team. Like I said after the game, Ontario Wilson will be out. Bavion is more day to day, and same with Brady Scott, and same with Cyrus Fagan as well. So hopefully we can get these guys back soon.
Coach, always appreciate the time. Be well, and I'll talk to you again next time.
Hey, thank you very much, and go Noles.
All right, take care. Willie Taggart talking with me this morning. That was earlier today, and I think it's straightforward. I'm not there to antagonize Willie Taggart and argue with him, but I do want to get answers to some of these things that we saw at the end of the game, the second to last possession. I would not have been playing for a field goal there. To be sure, I think they were. You look at 2 slow developing runs followed by that little screen to a tight end. Maybe if they get a block, they do get the first down, but it seems conservative to me that they're playing for a field goal. And I'm not playing for a field goal with Ricky Aguayo because I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. He's trying, but he's just not very good. So you have that situation. Plus, it's a monsoon, and what are we doing? And I disagree with Coach about James's play. He left a lot of points on the field, a lot of big plays on the field. It's happening more and more. You look at the decision. He says he got hit, and that's why he threw the interception. Well, he was thrown into triple coverage. I've watched the play 3 times now. I don't know how he thought he was going to get that ball in there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get picked regardless if he gets hit. So it's poor decision-making, which is kind of a theme we're seeing here. I think he's regressing a little bit. That might be from not trusting an offensive line that hasn't given you reason to trust it. Although I will say in this game, they were able to find a little bit more of a physical edge between the tackles running the football. It's unfortunate with Cam's situation because, you're not in the game if Cam Akers isn't the horse that he is, but he has not once but twice this year put them in a bad position fumbling the ball when they have an opportunity to go up a couple scores. It's just really the timing of that situation has not been good. Your other superstars, Tamorrion Terry, I'm going to need him to just stop dropping passes because it happens a lot. and he dropped some more in this game. So I don't know. I don't think they're getting that much better. It's very, very tough to stomach.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say it stands out if you listen to Willie's comments at his presser this afternoon regarding the quarterback and the choice moving forward. He says we'll see on Saturday to the media this afternoon. This morning he says we're moving forward with James. So everybody else keeps talking about it, but I don't. So, okay. That's not really accurate, though, because before it was if James is healthy, he's the starter, and last week it was we'll see on Saturday. So the talking points have changed, but apparently it's going to be James, according to this interview. Believe what you will, though, because you heard a different story from this morning than the midday presser.
Yeah, I think when you go back and look at that film, man, it's not good film. There's enough out there where you can still win the game. I'm not saying that. It wasn't like he played like he did against Clemson, where he was just awful. But he's inconsistent, and that might just be his ceiling. He's not a real good player. It's his situation, well documented. He was never really put in a good situation, having to play so soon, long before he was ever ready. Had a coach basically not change the game plan whatsoever to take into account how young he was and how green he would be behind that offensive line in a situation that he could have never dreamed of. So right off the bat, his career got off to a rather ominous start. Obviously, then the head coach that recruited him leaves. And then, again, he had the situation with DeAndre Francois. This line is still terrible. He was, just this situation.
He's dealt with more than anybody has a right to deal with before they get to, their upperclassmen years.
I think that's where I'm at with this. I sound depressed because I am depressed in this sense. I feel really bad for the kids. I do. I feel bad for a lot of these guys. I mentioned Cam Akers. Well, think about his career because say they make a bowl. Cam Akers ain't playing in that bowl game. Marvin Wilson's not playing in that bowl game. Well, maybe they will. I don't. Maybe they'll make
Marvin might. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they will. I don't know. But if you're going pro, I don't really see it. But those guys, in a nutshell, have wasted. Other than I love being an O, you love being an O, we all love being an O. I mean, truth is that they could have gone anywhere. They would have won a lot of football games if they had chosen somewhere else.
Yeah, I think we had somewhat of a physical edge between the tackles, but I think Cam did a wonderful job of breaking through 97 of them himself.
Yeah, he was a tough dude on Saturday.
He was unbelievably tough.
He always is.
It's a hell of a fumble at a hell of a time, but it's just like, you really going to pin that on Cam? Like, you're going to say that the turnover, I mean, that's what killed us there?
It's not.
Come on, man.
That did hurt us, though. I mean, that really was a costly fumble. I mean, I'm not going after the kid because, again, we're not in the game if he doesn't run the way he runs. But, boy.
That's what I'm saying. It's not even a game if he's not who he is. Like, we're not competitive in the game if Cam doesn't will us to a position to win it and be up by a couple of scores. So I know it's a huge play, but I have a hard time even starting that conversation.
Well, do you think I would ask this question, though, because I went back and looked at it. We're in a remote, so I wanted to go back and look at it. Why does Laybourne not touch the ball? I mean, why we can't give Cam a rest? He got 5 touches in this game. Laybourne could have touched the ball 10, 15 times. I mean, I think that's where the game could have been won, is that you get maybe those guys combined for 45.
I don't know that he is nearly the player that Cam is in terms of creating opportunities post-tackle, post-contact. I don't think he's that tough of a runner, and I don't know that we were opening that many holes in general.
I thought between Minshew and even Baselli when he came in that we did do a better job there in the middle. I think there were some holes to run through there. We weren't losing yards on runs on first down. We were getting yards. Cam makes more out of something than it's really there, but there's enough where you're not losing yards. And I think I'd get him involved more as well, so you take the load off of Cam. I think sometimes he gets worn down. I think
if we get up a full score or two at that point. But, I mean, it's 14-12 is your one lead, and then obviously you've got a minuscule lead after you go for 2. It's a point. You have to have him on the field. I think the drop-off is significant enough that it was ride or die, and unfortunately the fumble killed us.
Yeah, it hurt. The interception hurt. They don't make, what people don't want to hear is you got to make winning plays. Well, you got to teach them to make winning plays, and they're not. We hear that after every one of these close games, every one of these losses. They lose road games. How many more road games you got? You got 2, 3, 2.
You got 2.
All right, you got 2 road games left.
One of them you're not going to win.
Well, no, that's guaranteed. As we sit here today, I would not pick us against Boston College.
So that's where we are.
I do thank Willie Taggart for joining me this morning, though. I mean, that's an easy interview to back out of after another tough loss. I give him credit. He always says yes to that. Chef Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Was it time coming and going?
I think the Jets are going to give the Patriots a game tonight.
You do?
Yeah, I had that wrong on the sheet. I'm going to take the Jets plus 10 if you could have got it early. I think it's down to 9 now. The Patriots are all banged up, and the Jets are hosting. I just feel like the Patriots' offense hasn't been real good. The Jets do have a defense, so I actually think that game will be more interesting than it looks on paper.
Well, it'll be interesting to me, buddy, because the final trailer for Star Wars comes out at halftime. So there you go.
I didn't know that. They're making another one? How many of these
This
are
is
they?
the last. This is the,
Okay.
This is the big one. I don't think it's going to be good, though.
Yeah.
Judging by the first couple of trailers, I don't know.
You don't feel good about it.
Maybe tonight's could sway me the other way. I'm not so sure, though. I think this one might be a little touchy.
I don't think you liked the last one, did you?
I was okay with it except for a 20-minute sequence in the middle. If you ignore that, it's all right. It's all right by me.
All right. I just ask you because I don't care about it, so it's not.
It got very preachy in the middle. It was a little much.
I got a tall boy back. Okay, I forgot to touch on that today. There we go. Yay.
These tall boys aren't going to buy themselves, boys.
No, they're not. Tom Lang's going to get them. All right, at least after this week.
So I'm down 1.
You're down 1.
We picked the right game, though. That game was in the balance the whole way.
It was a great game. Yeah, I had a suspicion. I feel like the old Fuente got it back together. They're fighting for him. And then not only that, Carolina is vastly overrated. People love that story of Mac Brown, but they're not good. But they do play hard, which is unlike last year.
Of course, they got to the 2-point rule, and as we're watching Hangar 38 and that game enters overtime 4, I'm like, well, you won no matter what.
No matter what happens here.
I mean, like short of a 2-point play followed by a 2-point interception return for a touchdown, I don't see how I'm going to win this one.
Yeah. But that said, right now as Florida State fans, we're living through other events, man. I mean, other sports. Soon it'll be basketball for Florida State. I will say I'm taking great joy in watching the run that FAMU's on. What a win for them. And obviously this situation now being ranked is just tremendous. It's there's a coach. There's a Willie that's doing a good job. There you go. If you're looking for a Willie doing a good job in Tallahassee, it's the one at FAM. I can tell you that. So congratulations.
The impressive Willie. That's what that is.
That's the impressive Willie indeed. So I'm really happy about that. That's a program that's been down for a very long time. And to see them bounce back, even amidst all the controversy and stuff that has nothing to do with them, it's just, it's good to overcome that. So there's a lot happening there. And then elsewhere, you're just kind of looking around in the NFL and in college football trying to find good storylines. It's brutal. It's like we talked about all day today. It's no fun. It's disappointing to say the least. It's disheartening. It's terrible for this community, let alone the university. But I know so many businesses that have been hit hard by the fact that this program is disinteresting. They're not getting better. And we find ourselves in dire straits. And it's, I think it's easier. We talked about this some last week. I think it's always easier when you can see a clear path out or you can find options that seem to make sense. And that's true of like whatever predicaments you're in your own life, if financial difficulties, something to do with your family, whatever it might be. Like if you can sit down and sort of vet a way through a problem, then it gives you something to work towards. It gives you hope. It gives you something to invest in. Where I think Florida State's in trouble is there's no clear-cut answer here. Look, even if you say, well, we got to fire Willie Taggart. Okay, what then? Well, what happens then? I mean, they're not going to, there's no sense in firing him now unless you're going to give somebody the interim tag like we talked about earlier. But I don't think that saves anything. I mean, how invested would the kids be when they're coaches?
No, and that's so easy to recruit against anyway, as if we aren't already. But you get the point. It doesn't make it easier to recruit.
No, and then I think the key is, and I've had experience with this. We've gone through it. We were about to go through it. Frankly, we were on the cusp of having to go through it towards the end with Jimbo. We were about to enter into a season where it was going to get testy, where we were going to start talking about maybe needing to make a change. You remember some of the language we were using towards the end there.
It got testy, though. He told a guy to bring his ass down to the field.
Well, I'm talking about the fans, but I'm saying where Willie's in trouble right now is that now you have real speculation amongst the national and local press about things not working out and where we're going from here. And now No coach handles that all that well. They begin to feel the walls closing in. I think you see that in his press conference today.
He's not wrong. They are.
He knows that it's on the line. And so, that doesn't usually – it doesn't always end in termination, but it certainly begins – almost a weekly conversation, and you're having to combat that coupled with getting your team prepared to try to win a football game. So you're fighting for your job. He's in fight for your job mode now.
And it's a different size animal, because he had something similar to this with USF where it was close.
Yeah, but it was
USF. But,
USF,
you don't have, people on Tampa radio or in the papers, every day saying.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
There's plenty of other options in Tampa to go pick on.
Yeah. No, this is it's going to be very, very weird to watch play out, and I think the whole thing is the beginning. We're now watching what I think is the beginning of the end. I hope I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, it means that they have found a way to pull themselves back up and get some wins and create a little buzz for themselves. But we said all of last week, you got to win this Wake game. You got to win this game and create some momentum. You got a real chance if you win it to feel good about yourself, come home, win that game against Syracuse, who's really fallen off a cliff. You get a chance at revenge with Miami, who just lost to freaking Georgia Tech. I mean, goodness gracious. But, now I think it's all on the table. I mean, what do you think the percentage chances are that they get to a bowl now? We start asking that question again. I mean, it's a little dicey.
Between 40 and 50%, I'd say.
I mean.
Coin flip might be a little generous, given that we can't assume anything beyond Alabama State. Yeah,
I think that's accurate, and that's just no way to be. That's certainly not showing the kind of progress. The team is better than they were a year ago, but they were awful a year ago, and they're not good now. It's a down ACC.
Yeah, the schedule's easier.
Yeah,
you got to remember that.
The schedule's easier, and it's a down league. No, it's going to be contentious, I think. My conversation, which you guys heard earlier this hour and in the first hour with Willie, was fine this morning. But it's really straightforward at this point. I got to ask him what he's seen. I know what the fans think is going on. I know what I think. We have all afternoon to give that opinion on a daily basis. That interview that I do with him is for him to talk about where this program's at. I gave him a chance to say what's the definitive proof that despite this record, things are moving in the right direction. He chose to point out that at least the games are close this year.
They are. That's true. The games are close.
That just definitely rings hollow, doesn't it? I mean, there's no.
At least he didn't go graduation rate or something like that.
No, I mean, that is an area you could brag when kids are going to class. That's it. We know.
That's where we are. That's where we are right now. Maybe he does turn it around, but I think if you just polled people's expectations, not emotions, but expectations, do you expect him to turn it around and be here for the 2021 season? I think you probably have, 80-20 no? 90-10 no?
Yeah, no, he's lost a ton of support. I don't think there's any doubt. And I'm not talking about lunatic fringe on either side. I think he's lost the meat.
I'm saying expectation, not emotion. Fire his ass guy,
right.
not talking about, do you expect him to be here opening kickoff 2021? I think
no.
Just about everybody's saying
well,
no.
I think what we're getting at now is whether or not he plays his way or coaches his way out of a job for next year. I mean, I think this is happening a lot sooner than we anticipated. I thought it would have to be almost an unmitigated disaster for him to not be here next year, given the financial repercussions of all of this. I'm beginning to wonder if that's true anymore. If you lose to Syracuse on homecoming in front of a half-empty stadium, on the heels of losing to Wake Forest after being blown out by Clemson, and you're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, getting ready to host Miami, and what is just a disaster of a rivalry these days.
Yeah, I think you got to reshape the question instead of saying, can we afford it? What's more expensive?
Mm-hmm.
What's more expensive to us?
I think those are the conversations happening from the money people right now is what does more damage to the school, to the finances. But I think it's more complicated than that is the other problem. And, we've mentioned it a lot today, but for people that are just hopping in their car, it's Florida State's not in a good position to be going through this right now. And I think that's the harder part. If all your ducks were in a row and financially you were solvent and everything felt good and you had a firm long-term vision with a president who was going to be in place for the next 5 to 10 years and an athletic director as chosen by him with a plan in place working in concert with the boosters and everything, you'd say, okay, well, that's a sunk cost. We're going to have to just spend the money and say, you can't, we can't keep doing this. It's killing us. I mean, long term, this is going to hurt us worse. Let's just move on. But that's not where they're at. You got an outgoing president, which I think leads to an outgoing AD, which means you have instability and you have financial concerns because the next guy that has to make the decision, you don't know who that's going to be, right? I mean, this is...
Yeah, but I think if Coburn were to recommend that this is the financially responsible move, given how he's governed in his time as interim and now full-time athletic director, that would really be noteworthy.
I don't know if it is or isn't. I mean, I want to learn. I want to sit down and talk with somebody about these numbers. I don't know enough right now. Is it? I mean, it might be.
I don't think you just cut a chunk $17 million check. I mean, obviously you can finance it out through however long the hell you want.
Sure.
There's more than that though, because you got to replace other coaches and then finance
it's the
a buyout.
entire staff, and it's the whatever group you're bringing in
For the incoming guy,
yeah. And that matters too, by the way, because you don't just fire. You know, we go back to when I wanted Jeff Bowden fired, go back to when I thought it was time for Bowden to either retire or be removed. You know, the conversation shifted from one of anger and emotion and fury and a daily, pounding your fist on the dais type stuff to, okay, we've arrived at this place. Now, how do we do this the right way? And you got to be very careful because you can get into this perpetual cycle. We've seen it with some programs that are forever firing guys and paying guys 2 and 3 years down. Remember when Auburn was paying 3 coaches at one time? We're not in the position to be able to do that, by the way. We're not Notre Dame. We can't just keep, fire people, and don't worry about money because it's no object. It is an object here. So you have to not only keep that in mind, but you also have to ensure that you're going to bring in a guy. No guarantees in this world, especially with coaching hires. We see this. It's well documented how many times universities swing and miss on these hires. I mean, there's no sure thing out there. I mean, there was probably no surer thing in this world than Jim Harbaugh doing a good job at Michigan. Well, he hasn't. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to fire this guy now. And yet he was great at Stanford, great with the San Francisco 49ers, an alum. You figure there's no way he can fail. He's failing miserably. Scott Frost, they brought back one of their own. He's in the midst of year 2 disaster as well, and they're not even close either. They just got blown out by Minnesota. They're not, we'll see. They're not about to part from him.
Yeah.
And he lowered expectations upon walking through the door, which was smart. And
he was in a worse situation too.
He was. Yeah. Although, he had a quarterback. I mean, we don't have a quarterback, so this is.
They may have a better offensive line. You never know.
Maybe it's fascinating to look around. Obviously, it's not working out for Chip Kelly at UCLA. It's not working out a lot of places in year 2 for a lot of these guys. So we're all trying to size up what you do here, and do you have the money? Who's the guarantee? Who's the guy you're bringing in that's going to change all this for the better? That's going to save you in recruiting. That's going to find stability and start winning football games.
But that can't paralyze you from getting rid of a guy if it's going to be empirical that it's going to cost us a lot of money in season tickets and then recruiting's going to go in the tank, all that stuff.
I agree, but it can certainly hamstring you moving forward if you make the wrong decision and you don't have a plan in place. They're going to have a plan in place. We're going to have to know, who you're going after. They're guys out there. I mean, let's see what happens, first of all. If Florida State wins the next 3 games, maybe the conversation shifts. But to be sure, it's entered the lexicon. It's out there in the ether now. This is now pretty much commonplace to hear a discussion about Willie Taggart's future here.
They could win the next 3 games. It wouldn't be a conversation ender, I don't think, by itself.
No.
You still have the big discussion.
No,
you have to.
The reason it wouldn't be a conversation ender is because they're going to get smoked by Florida to the tune of 4 touchdowns if they're lucky. At the end of the year. That program is improving. Every week they look better and better. And they got a quarterback that's tough and makes plays. They win fourth quarter most of the time, other than LSU. And again, that's a zoo, and they were right there in it. There's no doubt what's happening there right now. And so, when you see disorganization and confusion on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, found a way to lose the game.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So when you do that, it doesn't provide a lot of hope. But I got to know, who you talking to? You talking to Patterson? Are you talking to Campbell at Iowa State? PJ Fleck at Minnesota? Who you talking to? I don't know. I mean, you're going to start hearing names. It will be for the people behind the scenes who've got the money to figure out, and super agent Jimmy Sexton, to figure out who's what.
Yeah, I think the hard part here is how attractive is this job given what you're talking about with the athletic director and president situation, and given the fact that it's been a loser of a program for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and you look at what's incoming and you look at the offensive line. I mean, when it was time for Bowden to go and it was time for Jeff Bowden to go before that, you could say this is Florida State. this is a landmark job or a hallmark job across college football. This is one of the premier programs across the country. And you'd be right to say that even now. But if you're trying to flip this thing and turn around to get to a second contract, you got to consider more than you ever have before. Since Bowden took over in the late 70s, you have to consider more as a prospective coach coming in here. Man, I don't know if I can flip this thing in 2 or 3 years, so I need a long-term commitment that they didn't give this previous guy. Like, I need them to know that I got to have at least 3 full years because they've got a worse situation on their hands than they thought they did when Willie took over.
Yeah, now the buyout's in place. I mean, Willie will get paid handsomely if he gets fired early in this thing. He's in a financially good situation if this ends up being the situation where he gets let go at the end of this year. I mean, this is why we're talking about the money. This is why we're talking about having a plan in place, who's committed to this. I don't know that it's there right now. You can always find the money, I suppose. You have assets you can sell off. There are things you can do. I would wonder how seriously they're having this conversation now. It seems to me, based on the buzz around that situation, that what we're hearing from our sources and many others in this field who cover this program and have for years, that also have accumulated sources like we have, that at the very least, these kinds of conversations are being had, which is never good for a sitting coach, right? When the powers that be are having conversations that center around whether or not you should be retained. That's an interesting work environment to enter into on a daily basis, and it's certainly used against you in the world of recruiting. So now you've got a lot of things you're up against, in addition to just having your team prepared to play a football game on Saturday, which in and of itself apparently is hard enough to do. Front Row Noles first look is up next. Then we have the high school game that was canceled or postponed, I should say.
Yep, Rickards, Florida High. Yep.
Rickards and
We're
Florida
going to join
High.
that in progress, by the way.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And then Monday Night Football, New England and the Jets, which I just told you is going to be a little bit better game than you thought.
That sounds like enough reason to light up a victory cigar.
And
we'll take
hey, Jerry's!
whatever small victories we can get on a Monday.
We need them, baby.
We could stop by 2810 Share Road or 2910 Cary Forest Parkway, or we could visit online at jerrycigarshop.com. Your choice. Your choice.
Yay, Jerry's. All right, good work out of you, sir. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Hang in there. We'll be here for you tomorrow and the next day and the next day. That's what we do.